Signal. Oh, unstable. Nope, lost connection. Son of a bitch. Come on. Unstable connection. Good connection. Okay, I think we're in business. Okay. Add host. And invite. Let's see it work this time. Fuck. It didn't work. I'm trying to go dual live with someone. I think I have to back out or something. Hello, Lizzie. I was just on a second ago. I'm trying to go do a dual live with someone so I can do an interview. Present on my end. I think I have to back out of my live again real quick. But I'm not sure. So I'm supposed to be doing an interview with someone, but it won't let me. I already updated my app and everything. Bane of my existence. My signal's going all over the place.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
just popped up in the bottom like that. Those two like pink and blue circles like right now. So
Oh, perfect.
we figured
Perfect.
it out.
Oh, I think I was gonna say before we start, I'm gonna move my car in the shade real quick. I know it's like tacky for me to have to do this, but that's my situation.
I don't. Yeah, no worries at all. We gotta do. Just let it work.
Yeah, I just need to reverse and one lane over. Hopefully TikTok doesn't hate me for this.
Well, I'm no professional in any way, so I'm not gonna judge you for it. Messages. Thank you, Logic, for helping walk me through that a little bit. I appreciate
that. Perfect. Oops, kicking stuff around.
Ready?
Ready.
All right. So, yeah, just start wherever you feel is the beginning. Wait. I'm gonna screen record this first. Don't let me forget that. Media. Okay. Well, I don't know if that's gonna work. I might only get.
If we're live, your lives automatically save themselves.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, then never mind. I guess I don't need that. All right. I'm good then. I'm new. I literally only went live one time ever, and it was last night for like 5 minutes. So.
Cool.
Yeah. Wherever
as far as where to start, I've mentioned, I know in most of my stories, I usually, this is like, the first thing that I mention is, like pretty much one of my first memories is going into an apartment in San Diego. My mom walked in, like we walked in together, and then she like left me on the like right side of this guy that was sitting on a reclining chair, and we walked in. She went around the chair and sat on the couch, and then she had like a camera in her hand, if I remember correctly. And then Garrett, or the person that she introduced as Garrett, said that he can't have me sit. I can't sit. Was it? He can't have me sit on his lap because then he would be responsible. So my mom had to have me sit on his lap. And then he did that, or like, I sat on his lap, and then, sorry for the background noise if that becomes too much. But he had me sit on his lap, and then I remember this event slightly different than what I was told, like 2 decades later. I was told a different story. I remember sitting on his lap, feeling a pain in my hips, screaming, and then being like thrown at a wall. And then he says I was looking at his face and he was worried I was going to remember his face. And then he threw me at a wall. And then they said that's what broke my hips. And so that's like, I don't like, I do have hip pain, especially in my right hip. I've been like, I am like, things that make me question if my hip was actually broken as opposed to being like maybe dislocated or something was like, when I was growing up, I was able to do like splits a lot. So like, that seems like contradictory. But, yeah.
How
And
old
then,
were you? Like, how old were
I
you when, like, in this
remember being
circumstance?
sorry if the signal's a little choppy. Um, I remember being like 2 or 3. I don't think I was older than 3 because of like all these other memories that I have after that, and it'd be really intense to have like to fit in all this stuff in such a short um, amount of time before I was even 5 because like so much happened. Like I have everything like category, or I kind of like in my head by like certain like dates, or not say dates, but certain places we lived because we moved around a lot. And so I'm like, okay, I remember this from here and this from here. So I want to say like 3 at the oldest, but more than likely 2.
Okay.
Um, and then I want to mention real quick for all my moderators, if people are asking questions, you already answered one question. Yeah, just thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I can't
And
see
then
the questions that are in yours. Like, I was gonna write them down and then ask at the end. So, but I obviously can't see what's in yours. So if somebody could keep
okay.
track.
Yeah, if I see a really good question, if someone on mine can keep track of some good questions too, but if I see a really good question, I'll mention it to you to write down for later.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, so, and then the second of memories I have, which I believe is like one of my like my second one or whatever, is I remember my mom walking me into an apartment or a house, and I also believe was in San Diego. Um, and there was this guy. It was like a really nice house, and then like, we were watching When Harry Met Sally in his room, and then my mom wanted me to sleep in the bed, and then he wanted me to sleep on the couch, and then I slept on the couch, and my mom woke me up in the middle of the night, brought me into his room, and then like moved the blanket from his legs and like pushed my face down in his like crotch, and then like used my face and my jaw, and then like made me like as a made, like used me as a nutcracker, like made me bite him. And he woke up and like punched my face, and my nose is still crooked from that. Um, and he was like in shock. Like he was like, "What's going on? We need to take him to the hospital." And then my mom, I remember like just sitting on her phone, like sitting down on the ground on the phone with like a grin. And then the cops were there, and then I just remember him saying like, "Why me?" or something like this, and then someone else saying like, "You're all like this" or something. Um,
They're all
and yeah, like I vaguely remember someone outside. It could have been my mom. Um, but for memory wise, I want to say it was someone outside. But it was I think it was really late. But she said, "You're all like this," and I don't know what she meant by that. Saying it to the guy, and then later on we went back to our house, and my brother was crying when he saw my face, and he's like, "Is that what's going to happen to me?" And that's like the last thing that I remember on that like scenario. And I can like mention more about the place, like what it looked like. If like there's any questions on that stuff, like I do remember a lot of what the place looks like. Like you walked in and they had like an L-shaped couch, or I'm pretty sure it was an L-shaped couch. And then behind one of the couches was the kitchen, and then to the left of like you walk in, and then you have the living room, and then the kitchen behind the living room, and then to the left of the living room it was his bedroom, and then you had a sunroof, which was I remember that really well because I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that was like a thing at the time. And then there's some little things that I remember that are like not very important. But I remember like or like somewhat important. Like I remember my mom didn't wear diapers. wear diapers when I was like older. Uh,
Hold on. Hold on. You're a little like echoed or
choppy.
something.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, not
sorry.
even choppy. It's like you're far away every so often, but obviously you're not getting any far away. You said something about diapers, is what I heard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my mom made me wear diapers when I didn't need to. Like I remember being like really embarrassed about that a lot. Like 'cause my mom kept on making me wear diapers. And she's like, "Oh, just use the like I don't know, just weird, just telling me to use the restroom or like in my diaper." And I'm like, "I can use the toilet." Like I didn't like I don't know. I'm paraphrasing a lot of it because it's just embarrassing. I don't like thinking about it too much. Uh,
Yeah,
but are you able to still hear me well enough?
I can. I
I can
can.
try. I can try moving it closer. I just don't know if it's. I'm
It's
trying to see if
just
there's
like
something I can.
it's like every so often it sounds like you're underwater or something. It's not even like choppy. It's just like whoa, whoa. Like, but you're good for the most part. I can hear you. Yeah.
I'm just gonna move this a little bit.
That's
Okay, I'm gonna get one more of these windows. See if that helps. There we go. Um,
okay.
so, um, uh, I remember one of the few times I stayed with my dad. Like, I mean, like visited my dad. It was really like 2 or 3 times up until uh, like we were 12. And I remember one time visiting his house, and this it could be nothing, but this one of his roommates was like, I just remember this woman saying, "I'm sorry, this is gonna like gonna happen to you or what's happening to you or something." And I remember that was always stuck in my memory. It was in the house, like we watched. It was right around the time when that movie Hercules came out, that Disney movie. 'Cause I watched it in that house. Like he had like a piano and a pool and all that stuff. And then I remember my dad. I remember my dad walking me into the bathroom and like shoving a toothbrush in my mouth and just like not brushing my teeth, but like beating the crap out of my face with a toothbrush, basically. Um, and
Was
I
that
remember
at
him
your dad's house or was that at the house that you were talking about earlier?
that not at the uh, not at
L-shaped
the
house.
house, not at the house that I was talking about when my mom took me in San Diego. This was, I think,
Okay.
somewhere in Glendale or West Covina or something.
Okay.
And it was my dad lived with a roommate, this woman, and like I remember just like a piano. I remember um, I remember a pool in the back and like that like yellow and red like Flintstone car that everyone had as a kid. I remember that was there,
Yeah.
and there was like another kid that lived there. I don't remember the kid. Like I don't, but like there's a lot of kid stuff there, so I presume there was like another kid that lived there. Because we were just visiting, and there was like yeah, like we watched Hercules. I remember my mom really didn't like that for some reason. Um, I remember sitting at a movie theater. We were watching Lion King, and my mom had me like she's like, "Oh, go sit closer if you want." And I'm like, "Okay." And I sat closer, and then this big guy sat next to me and spoke with me for a few seconds, and I don't remember what he said, and I don't really remember what happened after that. But I remember like that was odd. Um, these are just smaller things that I don't even think I put these in my Word document. These are just like some smaller things. But my next like bigger story. Let's see, if we're in San Diego. I remember I remember when I was in elementary school, when we still lived in Oceanside, we went to um, what's it called? A field trip. We went on a school field trip, and my mom was one of the parents to like watch the kids. And then my mom took like me and my buddy. My mom took me and my buddy, and we just like left the group, and then we went into this like theater thing for a while. Um, and then when we walked out, I believe it was the teacher or another helper or something was like really angry at my mom. and then my mom and I just like left like really fast. I remember that, and then shortly after that, let's see.
Do you do you
So
do you know what happened in there? Was there something separate? Was like, did the teacher just get upset because your mom was like they didn't know where you were at, or do you think something happened in there maybe to the other child
it's
or you?
definitely I want to say it's definitely possible that something else happened to the other child. I don't remember really at all.
Okay.
Like it didn't very much. Like I remember walking out, and I remember this woman, like elderly woman with like gray, like old lady hairdo. And she was like, I'm getting a weird echo on your end a little bit. Was it? We walked out, and this lady was really angry with with my mom, and like, what are you doing? Something like that. And then after that, my mom wasn't allowed to go to school field trips anymore. Um,
How old were you, do you think then?
this would have been either kindergarten or first grade, which is I went to the same school in kindergarten and first grade. One thing I want to note is my mom made me start school late, and that's one thing that's a theme through all of it, through like a lot of my stuff is just like school chaos, like constant. Uh, there was yeah, my mom made me start school late. I remember walking into class and everyone was like making like cutting whales into like whatever, like you put cotton into whales and like staple it and you have like kind of a stuffed animal kind of thing. I remember doing
Hmm.
that, and then I remember doing like the turkey hands, like where you do like a hand and for Thanksgiving, whatever. But I remember starting school late, and then not much happened. Not much else happened there. Um, and then I remember that's okay. I almost skipped ahead. Um, talking like totally like triggers some like more thoughts or memories and whatnot. Um, so first grade, second grade. Um, I remember in second grade. Let's see, we moved from. Okay, before sorry, so still in first grade. I remember we had this neighbor, Joe, Willie, and Judy, and Judy was like my mom's best friend, and supposedly Judy fell out of her old car, and then I remember one time riding with my mom in the car, and I almost fell out and had to like grab myself back in. It was like she was turning onto the highway, like whatever, and I was like leaning on the door, and the door just like swung open, and I like grabbed onto like my seatbelt, and then
Oh,
like um I don't know, yeah, brain damage, and like getting hit in the head a lot was a theme. Making me look silly, like saying dumb stuff to me. Like my mom, I remember in second grade. I'm going to skip ahead for a second here. In second grade, I remember being told that the moon was the shadow of the sun, and that um, was it the moon was the shadow of the sun? Cats were female dogs. There's another one that I forgot, but I had really good grades up until like because I really cared. I wanted people to be proud of me and whatnot. Like pretty much everyone, I think. But up until like second grade is when stuff started to get worse, like grade wise. Um, and that's around the time where my mom 100% was like giving me vaccinations every week because the schools kept on losing my vaccination records and we kept on having to get shots at like home. And then like sometimes we go to the hospital multiple times. Um, I remember it wasn't even, I'm gonna skip ahead really far now. It wasn't until like seventh grade in Tustin where I mentioned this to the school nurse. She's like, you have to have your vaccines or you can't go to school here. And I mentioned to the nurse, I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I've been doing it for years. It's not my fault. The schools can't keep records of anything. And then she was like, no, that's your mom's job to keep records. And I was like, that's not what my mom says. Like, we've been, like, just reiterating. And that was the first time where I was like, where the lady's response, the nurse's response was like, kind of made me like, oh, well, that's weird. I
do
remember
you
in, oh, go for it, go for it.
do you remember like have any idea what she was giving you? Like, do you remember any like euphoria or anything after getting a vaccine or?
Yeah, I remember, and they told me in my 20s what it was, and I just say like I don't know, I'm very skeptical because they've gaslighted me a lot, so I say things like somewhat cautiously, but they told me in my 20s um, that it was heroin, that they were drugging me with heroin, and then in when I was
Who,
like in
who told you
second grade,
that?
I'm sorry, what?
Who told you that? I'm sorry. You're
Uh, the like I get picked up in my 20s. I got picked up by law enforcement a lot and like put in the back of cars originally to talk about how I was trafficked so they can investigate it. But
yeah.
then but then like it came out that they weren't doing that and they were just trying to find ways to like cover it up, like see what I remembered or whatever. Um, and they told me, yeah, they told me that they were giving me heroin and then or like injecting me with heroin, and then in second grade or so, I remember playing Mario Paint in my room and then my mom coming in behind me and me like I looked over and my mom's like on the ground like leaning almost sticking a needle in me and she's like I know how you don't like shots like I'm doing like like I remember saying like thank you like because I just hated needles we like all this freaking time needles um and I was just like thank you or whatever and then I remember like laying down and then like getting back up and just playing again and then to like kind of connect that to in fifth grade um it's Perry Elementary. My mom made a birthday cake for me in the middle of the summer. So my birthday's in the winter. Not in the middle of the summer, but it was like spring. It was spring or fall, and she told me to. It was before they put me in special ed, so it was probably in spring. She made a Power Rangers cake, cut it into funky pieces, and told me to give it to everyone in class. Say that we happened to have a substitute teacher, and then the police came over because everyone got sick, and then the police came over and they said to the what's it called to the substitute teacher, they're like, "Do you think he could have made the cake or something?" And then she's like, "No, but he looks like he's on heroin." And then he's like, "Do you?" And I just remember her saying like, "I don't see how he could have gotten it." And then she got arrested, or like she got like removed from the classroom. And then Miss Kelly, my new principal, after Mr. Glasser, my mom tried to frame Mr. Glasser. Um, Miss Kelly walked in and then was there for the rest of the day. So that's like I guess the heroin story, like
Okay.
a little bit.
Just
But
just
so
to clarify, so you said that you had a substitute teacher when all of the kids got sick, then that teacher got pulled out and replaced by Miss Kelly.
yeah, the like I was in like fifth grade and I had a regular teacher or whatever, and then my mom uh, made a cake, and then when we had a substitute teacher, we she told me she gave it me this like bin, and then told me to take it to class with me, and then give it to everyone, and she cut it up into weird pieces. I believe to make it look like I cut and like made the cake and cut it myself or something. Um, made it into weird pieces. I took it into class. The substitute teacher that was there ended up getting escorted out or arrested by the police. Um, and um, and when she got escorted out, uh, Miss Kelly, the new principal that I had since like third grade, maybe second grade, I want to say third grade, um, came in and then did the rest of the class. And I think after that, either another substitute teacher showed up or the regular teacher came back. I don't remember. It was
Okay.
right around that time I got put in special ed, and I have already put up screenshots of like people that were in my class that um, remembered me going into special ed and that it was really weird. Um, I have a screenshot of someone that typed that out, and that's already in my videos and everything. Um, whew. And so let's see, we're back at. Sorry, I skipped ahead a lot. So we're back at like first grade. Um, Before we moved to Oceanside, like we lived in one apartment in Oceanside where my mom was vacuuming, and she said like I'm paraphrasing, if I want to vacuum like her or whatever or help her, I should put what was a paper clip into the outlet, and I electrocuted myself really bad. And then we moved from there. And then this is also right around the same time my mom was making me wear diapers. But before we moved out of that apartment, my aunt Veronica and my uncle Kevin came over, and they were like, I like dinosaurs a lot at this time, but they got me like baby dolls and Barbies. I think it's just like, just the stuff to like I think to like help to make it for me to be more ostracized. And I remember my uncle Kevin, whom I'm named after, was like very bothered by this. Was like very angry that they got me these toys and that they were like doing something. And then in my back in much later, like when I was 12 or 13, when I went to go live with my Aunt Veronica and Uncle Kevin, I remember my mom showed up out of the blue and then ran up to their car and said something to them after we were done with the visit. And then he got out and was like, "I can't believe you're still doing this shit." Um, yeah.
Like to
Um,
you or
I don't know what she said to her. Probably like just the same shit she's told everyone that I'm like a pedophile, like like a kid that like she's been saying this like I've been touching kids since I was like little, and that's just again to just ostracize me. Um, I like older muscular men, just to clarify for those watching. Um, but so I just remember like sitting outside of CRF group homes, me and Uncle Kevin and Aunt Veronica and her kids were like hanging out around each other. And then they were getting ready to leave, and then my mom showed up and then walked up to their truck car thingy with like a camper thing, not a camper thing, but a cab over.
Mhm.
And I just remember like watching from where I was sitting, and then my mom like speed walks into the group home, and then my uncle Kevin hops out and was like, "I can't believe you're still doing this shit," or something like that. And then maybe he said the F word. I can't remember if he said the F word or not. And then I ran up to the car on my aunt Veronica's side and was like, "What happened?" And I don't remember what they said. And yeah, that was it for that. Um, so
you were
yeah,
already like my bad, I'm sorry. Were you
oh,
already removed from your mother and you were living in this group home and your family was visiting you? Or
this
you
is
were
when I
living
was
with
like, this is when I was 12. I was just drawing a parallel or like trying to draw like to connect that my uncle Kevin was noticing stuff or aware of what was going on from when I
I got
was like 3 or 4 or so, like when my aunt Veronica and them were having me play with Barbie dolls and just like kind of like me getting electrocuted, etc. And just saying how my uncle Kevin was. I don't understand why he would say, "I can't believe you're still doing this," and have it not be connected or whatever.
yeah.
That's speculation on my end. But and then back at let's see, so we lived in that one apartment in Oceanside. Once I got electrocuted, we had to move, and then we moved to an apartment also in Oceanside where Joe, Willie, and Judy lived, and that's where the whole car thing happened. I remember my mom bought me a Green Ranger that had like the shield thingy that popped off, and like she told Willie to hide it, and then my mom took it from Willie. Willie told me this later, uh, and then said that Willie stole it, that he wouldn't give it back to me, um, and we moved from there to another small yellow apartment where my mom got a dog that was severely abused and like kept on telling named Stella, and she kept on telling us to like hug it and to give it kisses in the face. I'm pretty sure so that me and my brother would get mauled. Um, and Stella wouldn't bite us; she was fine. And then my mom got rid of the dog, and then our neighbor, and I don't know if some of these are I think are gaslighting, but my mom said the neighbor that lived next to us, this old lady, died. Like she just constantly brought the stuff up to like put it definitely to put it in my mind. She said that the lady next to us died. There was a shootout right across the street from us at this house that me and my brother used to go into. This guy used to we used to play Tetris over there, and this guy was teaching my brother guitar. It was the first time I heard "Smoke on the Water," like boom, 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 whatever. If you know the song "Smoke on the Water," but then I remember like sitting outside their apartment right before this happened. My mom was like, "If I say duck, go look at ducks." Like something like, "Go look at the window at ducks." And then there's like a shootout, and my mom says duck, and my brother and my mom duck. And then right across the street, I can see in the window the guy like points out the door and starts shooting at the cops, and the cops are shooting him. And then my mom told me later that she said that he was molesting me and my brother, which never happened. Um, and I remember like what streets these are. Like these things, like so, like there's so many ways to look this stuff up. It's not like I just have to say this stuff and like people have to take my word for it. Like I remember, I don't remember the addresses, but I can 100% find these places. Many of these places, like that yellow apartment that we lived. My mom also has a housing record. Like if you look at my mom's background, it shows where my mom lived. And I can be like, oh, that's where this happened, and that's where this happened. And then after that happened or so, my mom met a guy named Tom Duncan, and we moved to his mansion. He was just getting a divorce, and my mom made me live downstairs. Where this, I don't know how long we lived there for, but I didn't see anyone that whole like the entire time I lived down there. My only thing that I lived with was like a cat that was his ex-wife's that was stuffed into the room next to mine, and my mom would constantly blare Bob Marley downstairs, just like it was just always on all the time, super loud. And then um, I remember doing this is like I guess a good memory. I remember I had like a Megazord toy. It was like the second generation or whatever. It was like this ninja one. And I remember watching Toy Story and thinking that my toys were like moving around. I caught one of my toys and I gave it a spanking. I was like, "You can't move without me." I don't know. That was like three. But let's see. And
Do you
then
do
oh,
you
go for it.
think that the like the loud music was keeping you down there so that you couldn't hear maybe what was going on upstairs?
I think that's definitely possible. Speculating on that, why my mom would play loud music. Um, Part of it, I think, is just to like make me feel more isolated, maybe, or like like I don't have like yeah, like maybe I don't know what's going on. I remember one time I went upstairs and like my mom got really mad at me, and I never went upstairs again because I never saw the whole apartment. I remember going upstairs, seeing the kitchen, and there's a side room with like really pretty furniture, and then that's all I ever saw of the apartment, um, or the mansion, and then he lost the mansion because, or did we have to move, or did he lose it? Maybe both. I remember getting in trouble at school, and then my mom portrayed it that it was like my fault or something that we had to move, and my brother had to lose all of his friends. And that's also another thing is me and my brother were constantly made to be put at odds. Mom would have me and my brother kick each other in the nuts. Like she'd like go to my brother and be like run up to him and kick him in the nuts or something like that. She wouldn't say that like that, but he like they do that. I remember one person at the beach saw this and like really got mad at my mom. Um,
What's the
my mom
age
told
difference between
16
you and your
months.
brother? Who's older?
He's 16 months older than me.
Okay.
Um, and oh, so California, I totally lost track. Okay. Moved from. I'm skipping over quite a bit too. I want to tell this story.
Don't
This is
stress.
what.
Don't. Okay, like don't stress over it. Like take your time. I'm completely open. So like take your time on what you got to do. Okay.
Thank you.
Like don't rush or anything.
Thank you.
I don't need.
I always feel a lot of pressure, like the I guess like the sound and the like all the. So I'm in a Walmart parking lot, and so like there's just like people driving and the heat. I'm just like, then the story too. I feel like I need to get as much out as possible as soon as possible, so that like people hear what like I guess like the hook or whatever. Like it keeps people like interested enough to maybe look into it. And so like I do, but then I'm like, oh, I forgot this, and I forgot this kind of thing. Um, and so let's see. Judy's place, fell out of the car, or almost fell out of the car. Uh, Brother doing this stuff. Do do do. I remember. Okay, so the mansion, we were living there, and then either because of me or because of Tom losing the place in the divorce, we moved to Valley Circle in Huntington Beach, which was also right next to where Willie and Joe lived. Judy passed away at this time, which was like their mother or grandmother. Um, we lived above and to the right of them. At least I'm 99% sure it's the same. These are the same Joe and Willie. like 99.9. Because we ended up moving next to them again in Schaefer Circle, like direct neighbors. And I believe if it is the same Joe and Willie that I'm 99% sure it is, I believe it was to keep the amount of people that would know me, my brother, to a minimum. And so it would it'd be easier to like either have someone lie or to dispose of them in case something happened. That's really my perception on that. Um, oh boy, and California. Okay, so Valley Circle lived next to Joe and Willie. At this time, my mom would have us watch all the time horror movies, like all the time. Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, like all the time. I believe she was trying to train us to like become murderers. And then this guy kept
What
on coming
and
over. Go for it.
approximately what age, just so I can keep track.
Well, this I would just say by second grade. I don't know how old I was. I mean, I didn't skip or I wasn't held back. Uh,
Okay.
Second grade. Well, I do want to say I did skip something big. A place that we did live in Oceanside is where this is like first grade or so. Uh, my mom. Let's see. We lived in an apartment building, and this apartment building this was actually right before I went to school because I remember my brother and I just made screenshots of this too, of this woman that my brother, this woman that babysat me and my brother. My mom framed her for sexually assaulting my brother, and I just recently got a screenshot of someone saying, of someone that knows my brother in California, who's like, I don't believe what he didn't believe what I was saying was true. He's like, me and your brothers even talked even about when your brother was sexually assaulted by the babysitter when you guys lived in California. And I put that screenshot up. And that's something that my brother has denied or like try to avoid. But that woman was framed. That the sexual assault never happened. I remember my brother telling me like not to say something or other, not to tell my mom that like the baby like that they were like that they talked about it or something, like not the babysitter, but like my mom or something. And then when I brought it up to my mom or something, this is an early memory. Like I just remember the woman saying like the mom like I was told like she said I could babysit her kids. Like what's like why what's going on? Like why me kind of thing. Like I remember she was sitting on the like I remember what the apartment looks like exactly. Like it's hard to explain like in words, but she was sitting at the table on these seat. There's four chairs, and she was sitting at the one like to the right, closest to the kitchen and closest to the door. Um, and so I recently got that screenshot. And then around that same time, um, we moved to another apartment in the same apartment complex. And then my mom had me stay at this woman's place where I was like put into a dog kennel for like 1 to 3 days. I just remember screaming a lot, like a lot. And then like finally a police officer came over and took me back to my apartment. My mom answered the door and I ran in and like grabbed her or whatever. And then he was like, "What the hell was this about?" And I was kind of mad that he yelled at my. He's like, said a curse word to my mom. And then as soon as like a minute later after he got there, these guys came over, and then they were talking to him, and I was like sitting like right in front of the door with them. And then he's like, "You guys are effing sick" or something like that. And then he turned.
The
Then I
cop
remember
said
like
that?
saying, "Huh?"
The
Yeah,
cop said you guys are sick?
the police officer that saved me from that lady's apartment, that woman's apartment, took me to where I was, and took me to my mom's apartment. And as soon as we got there, yeah, these guys came over, and then the police officer, because they were talking, and the police officer was just in front of the doorway. The police officer said something to the guys like, "You guys are effing sick," or something, or disgusting, or something like that. And then I remember like reacting in some way, and the guy leaning down and being like, "No, not you. Like you're a good boy," or something like that. You're doing everything fine. And then he just left and was just like just disgusted. I remember that really strongly. Um, and then right around this time, my mom uh, broke her back on a motorcycle accident. I am of the belief that they broke her back because like she either wasn't doing what they wanted her to do, or they were, because my mom's a victim too. Like my mom, like there's a perception that my mom was doing this for money and stuff like that. My mom wasn't allowed to keep child support. My mom wasn't allowed like to do anything. I'm not trying to like give people like favor my mom in any way. She's horrible. People who go along with this shit, they're able to get away with it because people go along with it, either through out of fear or whatever. Um, but my mom broke her back, and then I remember like having like what's it called, a what's it called? The thing that you pull behind you and has wheels and like
An
things that you put
oxygen
stuff in.
machine? Oh, I was thinking like an oxygen machine. You know what I mean? They have it like, but no,
Oh
that's
no, no,
not.
it was a toy,
Oh,
like
okay.
um like a toy wheelbarrow kind of thing. I can't remember what
Okay.
it's called. I want to say trailer, but that's not it. But it was like a toy like trailer thingy that I could put all my other toys in. I remember walking around all the apartment complex selling my toys for money because I heard my mom crying about money. And I remember walking up to my mom while she was in the bathroom and I had like a bunch of quarters and stuff like that or change. And then she like was crying and she held me and she's like, "I'll always love you." Um, and then, gosh, right around the same time, is when my mom glued my eyes shut with like, it could have been before or after, I don't remember. But my mom glued my eyes shut, and then I remember she was laughing about it, and then my brother saying like, "This isn't funny, please fix him" or something like that. Um, I remember, I remember this kid kept on coming over, and my mom said that he had lice. Um, and so he got embarrassed and stopped coming over. But I think that was just a way to like make it seem like I don't think he had lice. I think my mom was just kept on ostracizing us from everyone and everything. And then my mom had us go hang out with this at this kid's apartment that was like 13, and so like me and my brother are like 6 and 7 maybe oldest. Um, and then at this apartment, me and my brother got sexually assaulted a lot by this kid. And then I remember one time, I'm paraphrasing over it because I don't like going over the details. I can, but I remember my brother kept coming over, going over, and then I was like kept on telling him to like go hang out with my friend. And then I remember while I was in his room with him and things were happening, his mom kept on coming in and finding us, and then kept on like encouraging it. And then one day she came in with a camera, and I just remember the kid saying, "I'm just doing what you told me to do," to his mom. And then the mom brought me back to my apartment with my mom, and then the kid left. I remember we used to play like this old Avengers game on Super Nintendo over there. Um, and I'm not positive. I think, and this is because this person looks very familiar. This girl that I grew up with in Valley Circle named Margarita also lived in Huntington Beach. Also lived in this apartment complex in Oceanside. I remember my mom telling my brother to give me Mountain Dew or to give me his urine, saying it was Mountain Dew. And then she got mad at him. And then she like got to play the hero and like save me from drinking that. And then when my mom broke her back, this woman uh, that me and my brother didn't know named Pam ended up babysitting us for like a week or two. And then she taught me how to tie my shoes. And then my mom was really mad at her for teaching me how to tie my shoes. Um, and gosh, oh man, I'm having flashbacks.
Take your time, babe. Like, seriously, take your time. It's no, this has got to be hard to talk about. Like, it's no
Yeah,
rush. Whatever you want to
yeah.
share.
The difficult thing, I guess for right now, the difficult thing is like not necessarily like thinking about what happened. I mean, it is a little bit, but then these like random things come up where I'm like, oh, did this happen like this? And then like I hear like, then like I kind of like I'm there and I hear like people like a scream, and then like what's like a lot of like everyone's always confused. Like everyone doesn't know what's going on or why it's happening to them. There's a lot of that, uh, and so like I remember after that, I went to school, and on the bus, I mentioned to the kid that was sitting next to me what happened. And then somehow I went through the whole day, and then on the way back, the bus driver tried to not let me off the bus, and all the kids tried to not let me off the bus. but I wanted to go back to my mom because like I didn't really connect like that she was the perpetrator of everything, or like she was. I didn't really know it was what at this point. I was like first grade. Um,
There's like no
and
loyalty in the world like a child to their parent, no matter how bad it is. There isn't.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like and like my mom always portrayed that she really did love me. Um, and then so that was even before Tom Duncan and everything. So then yada yada, like all these other things, the mansion in Oceanside, and then we moved from Oceanside um, to Valley Circle, and then Valley Circle is when I went into Perry Elementary, and then my teacher was Miss Bernizer, and and then my principal was Mr. Glasser, and then this is where my mom made fun of this kid named Long Tran. I actually had someone send me a picture of our school yearbooks, and because this kid disappeared. My mom made fun of this kid named Long because his name was Long. She's like, "How long?" No, that's my name. No, I know that's not a real name. How long? Like my teacher, Miss Bernizer, had to tell him to stop. Tell my mom to stop. I remember I got into like one of the like two fights I can think of that I've ever had, which is with this kid named Armaldo, in Perry. And then I definitely want to say now third grade is where my mom set up Mr. Glasser because I was being made fun of for being short. Mr. Glasser brought me into his office, and he was like, I should bring my mom in and talk to her about growth hormones because his son or grandson was on growth hormones and it made him tall. Um, and I brought my mom in, and and this is when my school, like I was trying so hard in school, but like all every time I did good on homework, it would disappear or something. Like things would just happen. Like so much stuff would just happen. Um, but I brought my mom in, and I was a little cautious about it because I guess at this point in time I was just like, is where I was just starting to becoming like frustrated about things. Um, and we went into Mr. Glasser's office, and then they started talking about growth hormones. And then my mom said that she wanted me to have kids one day, and then he mentioned that his son or grandson had kids, and so it doesn't affect that or something. But she got really mad. And then as we were leaving, she was like, "Go shake his hand," and I shook his hand. And then when we got to the apartment, a police officer came to the door and said something like, "Keep him out of school for 2 days." And my mom said something like that too, or like I don't know. I remember being said like, yeah, like you got to keep him out of school for a couple days. And then when we went back to school, this woman brought me into Mr. Glass's office and had like a piece of paper and asked if me and Mr. Glass were ever touched. And I'm like, yeah. And then like I shook his hand, and then I walked out, and then my mom was in the main office, and then the secretary was like, he's going to remember it one day. And then my mom's like, he's always going to love me. And then she kind of like had this look or whatever, and then she disappeared shortly after that. Um, and then and around this time too, this is around the same time my mom was having us watch Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. I remember this guy came over and said that my mom couldn't use my brother couldn't use it say his couldn't have his first name anymore because my brother's name was Christian, and that he wasn't like good enough to have that name or something, and so he had to change his name to Chris. And I remember like telling my brother, I remember not understanding that, and then my brother said that he was going to get in trouble if I kept on calling him Christian. Um, I didn't understand why. Um, and then I skipped something really important, and I can't remember what it is right now, but I'll jump back to it if I need to. Oh yeah, this is what I was gonna say. Uh, we'd go over to Rob Campbell's house, and then like we jump on the trampoline, and then I remember Luke had this Ouija board, and my brother said that we couldn't play with it because it was like a test, and I was like, didn't get that, and I played with it, and then later that day, and I add more stuff to my story for people that are listening. I add more stuff to my story because it's hard to come up with. It's hard to, for one, just remember everything, but some of it I remember, and I'm concerned about saying it all of it at once because I'm concerned about people believing like so much convolution. Um, but so they had a Ouija board, and then like I played with it, and then later that night or the next day or something, this sheriff guy came over, and then my mom said that we had to take at home school photos. We had to take photos at Rob's house for like a school photo shoot, and we were told to go into the kitchen, and he took pictures of me and my brother, and then as he was leaving, he was like, "We're not supposed to do it to these types of people," and then the guy tried to take a picture of Luke Campbell, Rob Campbell's kid, uh, and then they got into a fight. Um,
The guy who was
and
taking the pictures and your mom got into a fight over
yeah,
Luke
the two guys, Rob Campbell, got into a fight with um,
photographer.
sorry, Edward. Got into a fight with the sheriff. It was like he was like it was law enforcement, 100%. Like I remember, I thought a lot
Okay.
like I saw law enforcement as like superheroes, and so like I always like made a point. Like I remember, this is skipping ahead a bit. I remember when we lived in Schaefer Circle, my mom told us to not wave at cops. Like don't wave at cops if you see them, don't look at them, and don't interact with them. And as a way to like ostracize us from law enforcement. And I remember just thinking that was so weird because like cops are heroes, and I just being like yeah, like you guys are awesome or something. Um, but so yada yada. Back at Schaefer Valley Circle. So we're living at Valley Circle. Our neighbors are Raquel, this guy named Jack, and something, and his older brother. I can't remember, or maybe that was his younger brother, Jack and David. And then my brother. I remember my brother saying that they were the good black people because they were whitewashed. He was probably forced to say this shit too. And that was for Jack and David. And then we also live next to Gage, and we also live next to Tiffany Harbeck, and um, yeah, and then this area because Tiffany still lived there for years and years, and so in middle school when I ended up getting out of social services and stuff, I would go back to Valley Circle to hang out with Tiffany Harbeck, and there's a lot of story there that I'll get to later. Um, and so let's see, Southern California, Valley Circle. We moved there with Tom Duncan. Um, I remember after when we lived there, I remember this like woman came over, and me and my brother had to stay outside all day. And then when we walked out, this like what to me now looks like a prostitute was like really felt like I ran up to her. I thought she was one of my mom's friends because my mom never had friends, and like she was like snappy at me, and then she's like said sorry to me, or she felt bad for me or something. And then shortly after that, Tom Duncan got arrested for hitting my mom. I don't think that happened because Tom Duncan, he was like strict, but I don't think he would hit my mom. So he got arrested. I remember my mom got me. Tom had made my mom get a new bike because my mom got me a like pink frilly super girly bike, and I was never girly. I was never like I had Power Rangers and dinosaurs, and I drew. Oh gosh, another memory. I don't know where this was like before Valley Circle, but I remember my mom. I remember drawing like whales. Okay, like like printed out paper. It used to have like it's connected white paper where it's like you had to like whatever tear it apart and have these like dots, like these like punch hole
Great.
things. And I remember I would draw like ocean, like the ocean and like whales and stuff on it in this house. And I don't remember where this house is, but I remember they had a big backyard. And I remember like they were shooting guns, and I remember my mom asking me to like grab stuff out in the field a lot. And then the guy that owned the house, I think, was bothered at my mom about that. And that's a very short, just like blip of memory.
So,
Um, and
do
then
you know what he was bothered at your mom for sending you out there while they were shooting guns, or
what was that?
do you know why he was upset with your mom? Was it because they were shooting guns and she was sending you out there?
Yeah, like that is like the I don't have an explicit memory of that, but that is the vague and emotional memory of that. Yes. And so that's also too I can kind of like categorize different things. Like 99% of what I say is explicit memory, like I specifically remember it. And then some stuff is like vague, like maybe it happened like this and maybe it happened like this, and the other stuff is just like my emotional memory from stuff.
Yeah.
Um but so then yeah, sorry. So Tom Duncan got arrested for hitting my mom, and then um that's where my mom started having us watch a lot of Scream and horror movies, and my brother couldn't use his name anymore. My mom would have would play Monopoly with all the kids and then ask them to put in real money, and then winner of Monopoly would get um, the money. And I'm 99% sure my mom was doing that because she wasn't allowed to have money and she wanted extra money. And this was like a secret way that she could get just a little bit of cash. Um, and uh, This is, yeah, my brother couldn't use his name Christian. I remember this guy came over and was like, we had to start watching Seventh Heaven instead of The Simpsons, and me and my brother hated it at first, and then me and my brother got into it, and then as soon as we got into it, my mom the day like same day, my mom said that we could start watching The Simpsons, and then my mom started crying at the door when this guy came, saying that she couldn't control us, and that we just do whatever we want, kind of thing, and then because like my mom put on The Simpsons again. And then I remember the guy like saying something to us. It was a heavy set guy. Um, and um, yeah, and then I don't know. A lot of weird stuff at school. I remember this little girl who wasn't in my class wrote her name on one of my tests, and the teacher said that she couldn't accept it because her name was on the test. And that's one of the last times I gave up in school. And I've never seen that girl before that, and she was never in any of my classes after that. And I have a suspicion that that's the same girl that in my 20s was like forced to follow me around, and like as I was like traveling around a lot, there's like it's I can explain it in way better detail, but just to give like an insight, this woman was following me around and drugging me. And I know that's like super vague, but I can go into like thousand story details of what I mean by that. And there's also events that happen around a lot of people where I started making scenes around a lot of people, so it's something that could eventually be corroborated by other people. Um, um, so like, sorry, value circle, and then this is also like, see, Mr. Glasser, and then like right around fourth grade, we moved to Schaefer Circle, where Long Tran was our neighbor, and then my mom found that out. That's when Long disappeared. And I remember her saying if she knew that he lived where he lived, she would have never moved here. And then right around that time, he disappeared, and then I have this memory of I think her telling me that she called CPS and got the kid taken away, and then Long's dad committed suicide. Um,
What was Long's
and
last name? I just want to.
yeah, Long's last name was Long Tran, Longtran, and I want to post a picture of him soon here.
And his
Um,
dad killed himself after Long got taken away.
Supposedly, there's like this was gaslighting.
Okay.
Um, and the people that we moved next to when we moved to Schaefer Circle, our specific neighbors was Joe and Willie, the same Joe and Willie from Valley Circle, and I'm 99% sure the same Joe and Willie from Oceanside. Um, and um, let's see, yada yada. I remember my mom getting American Pie and then like telling me to go like do what they did in American Pie in her shower and like practice. Um, and then I remember my mom getting me South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. This was like when I was like 10. And I remember Willie hearing it because he was our neighbor, and then him like trying to get it for me and offering me money, and then him like flipping out on my mom later because I told my mom, and he just like flipped out on my mom. He's like, I don't know. He's like something like I know what you're doing, or like I don't know what you're trying to do, kind of thing. And
How
like what was happening.
how old was Willie and Joe compared to you?
I don't know how the age difference, but I ran into Willie when I was in high school in the parking lot of Del Taco, um, near Huntington Beach High School, and he's always looked the same to me. Like even, and this is why I'm 99% sure is the same Willie and Joe in Oceanside. because it's always looked the same, like to me when I was younger. And so like 10 years older than me, maybe 15 years. Um, Caucasian, always had like a shaved head, not like shaved, like not bald, but like really, really short. Um, Pretty nice. I remember my mom, and she tried to do the same thing to them as they did to what was the thing? Joe ended up disappearing. I don't know if Joe's still alive or not. Willie's brother, but because I remember my mom put our PlayStation in his apartment, like not put, but like had me and my brother start playing PlayStation over there because we couldn't play it in our house anymore for some reason or for a while. And I remember beating Final Fantasy VII or getting out of this, just for context, like getting out of this area called Midgard in Final Fantasy VII. I got really excited and ran outside and like was trying to find my brother. So I was always forced to stay inside. My brother was always forced to stay outside. And I remember seeing my brother and he was smoking cigarettes. And then um, and that was, I can't remember if that was before or after, but my mom made my brother smoke a whole carton of cigarettes. And he was just like crying, like asking why he had to do this kind of thing. Um, in the same apartment, my brother went on a week-long scared straight program, is what I was told. And then my mom was also telling other people that that my brother was at a camp. And then when my brother came back, he was crying like near the TV. My mom was like to the right of him, and he said, "Why does he keep on having to have XEX with old men?" And my mom was like, "It's just the way things are. They don't like it either." And then my brother was like, "Why were they laughing?" And then later that night, my brother was like crying or like was like hurt. My brother was in pain, and then in the bathroom, and then he called my mom in, and then my mom called me in, and she was like sitting on the ground with her phone out, like she was taking pictures. And then she called me in, and then she told me to look into the toilet, and my brother's poop was just completely red, and I was like, cool or something, you know. And she's like, do you want that to happen too, or do you want that too? And I was like, yeah. And then my brother just started crying, and he's just like, why are you like this? Um, Yeah. And then there's another theme that's always that's there's another theme that I want to mention is a lot of people were that are manipulated through a lot of this are divorced or like divorced single mothers. Um, and that's going to be in the context for some people that I've already mentioned in the past and some people that I'm going to mention in the future. And that's just I don't know if that's a coincidence, but it seems to be like very, 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 very common.
Like they were
Um,
divorced before whatever interaction or afterwards they got divorced.
like they were divorced, and then that's why, and then like, because it's not just like me and my brother were targeted by like three random people, and like my mom, like 100%. This isn't like a theory. This involves like a lot of people in a lot of states from a lot of different backgrounds, both criminal, law enforcement, etc., being manipulated for different reasons, and a lot of the people, like a lot of the families that were targeted. Like my mom was divorced. The Frasers were divorced. I want to say Shane Anderson and his mom that lived in Huntington Beach, they were divorced. Um, Joe and Willie's, they came from like a broken home. Um, the people next door, when we lived in that little yellow house with Stella, where that guy had a shootout, they came from a broken home. Long Tran, broken home. Um, so yeah, that's just like another theme. Because they do target specific people or in specific things, like 100%. And they've told me, because I've had thousands of conversations with them, that like I'm paraphrasing a bit, but they think that they are the like angels sent from God to like cleanse the earth, and that they're doing God's work. And this is this is no reflection on religious people because I'm not religious, but I meet tons of religious people that are awesome. Context. People thought they were
So
really religious. And they also thought that they were like we are the Americans and everyone else is terrorists. They're like everyone is are criminals and they're terrorists and we got to capture everyone. Like that was like 1000% their mentality. They said it like 1,000 times that like, well, like only they are Americans. They control. Like I say this cautiously, but that they control like everything, and that nothing gets done without them. And my mom used to be a model. I don't know if that's relevant. And then this is what it's one thing I was told when I was older is that they broke my mom's back because she tried to get away from the system, from what they were doing to her, and that my mom got her tubes tied right before she got her back broken, and my mom's job was to have kids like like a fucking mule, like a cow or something, so that they could rape all of her kids for forever. And that because my mom got her tubes tied, they broke her back. Um, there's also
This stuff.
my mom. Oh, go for it. Go for it.
No, no, no. I'll tell you about it later. It's just
Uh,
like my own like what I correlation, but I can wait till you're done.
oh, sure, sure. Well, let's get to like a a conclusionary point for a moment, and then we'll go on to like a chapter kind of thing. Um, Let me see how I can end this. So all this stuff was happening. Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit. But all this stuff was happening. So Valley Circle. So like I know I mentioned some stuff in Schaefer Circle, but I was jumping ahead for Joe and Willie's purposes. So let's stop at third grade, where after Mr. Glasser, let's see, we stop there. I guess I already mentioned enough. I think I already mentioned enough to stop. I think we can stop at fifth grade because I mentioned going to Valley Circle. I mentioned the Frasers. I mentioned some other of our neighbors. Well, we'll say like in between third and fifth grade. I'll kind of recap and add some more stuff to like third, fourth, fifth grade. Um, so yeah. So like, tell me what like, your thoughts or questions or whatnot right now, if you don't mind.
Well, to me, for one, like I would say just my feelings. Um, it definitely sounds like your mom had it sounds like Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Have you ever heard of that? I'm sure you have. It's like
I'm not. Is that where you have kids but you don't have like an emotional attachment to them or something?
I'm not exactly sure what, I'm not like a doctor or anything, but I do know that like oftentimes parents with like whatever mental illness or whatever angle reason they have, they do things to their children's to make it to like get attention or to work life the way they want it to work. You know, she wanted to be viewed in a certain way. So she has these two kids that are either out of control or sick all the time, or you know what I mean, going through all these whatever things so that she can maintain control of people's perspective on her. That's what it sounds like. I'm just guessing. Like I said, I'm not like I like psychology and all of that, but I'm not like trained in any way. But that's definitely like it seems like there's something like that with her to begin with, and then just based off of what you say that she seemed to have not been the one pulling all the strings, you know, like she was.
100%, 1000% was not the one like pulling the strings or pulling all the strings. I think because of how she acted through like the pretending that me and my brother weren't trying to watch Seventh Heaven and stuff like that. She definitely, I feel like, developed like a Munchausen size and whatever you said. She definitely, I feel like, developed something like that. But there was definitely, I really do believe that at times like she loved me and my brother and she wanted us to be safe. Um, and that
Do
is
you
just over time they just broke her. Like she's just like get with it or went on. Like they broke her back. They never let her have money. She wasn't allowed to have friends or talk to anyone ever. Very similar to like my life. Like a lot of people have been ran out of my life. I wasn't allowed to work. I've been ran out of every single job I've ever had by my bosses telling me that like my mom or someone from law enforcement is calling or someone like just someone that I've hurt is calling them, letting them know that I'm like an ex cop or a pedo or a woman like assaulting person, and like I don't have such a bad memory which is why I'm so nice because I don't know that I'm a bad person until I do something. And just to clarify for everyone watching, I don't have any records for any of this stuff. There's stuff that my brother and them are posting now saying that I've been doing this since I was 14, like doing stuff to kids. And like one question everyone needs to ask is like, what's stopping them from reporting it? I'm literally on my way to Mexico. Like,
Well,
I'm
that's just to
so
make anything that you have to say invalid. Like that's just to maintain control over you. Like I have some experience with people doing that with me, and I can see that when I see it, like I recognize that for sure.
it's that, and they try to have it's that, and also try to get me killed. Like I've had my friends come up to me that I used to travel with and say, "Your mom sent us a message on Facebook saying that I'm a pedophile and that I'm really nice though, and that they should protect me." She's trying to get them to kill me, but trying to pretend it, phrase it in a way that if it was successful, and if it got looked into, she could say like, "No, I'm just a caring mother. Like my son's weird. Like I couldn't help it, you know." Like I've had so many people. Like I've had knife up to my neck many times. Specifically, one of this one woman, Rosa, that's one name. I've had guns, so many guns pointed at me, whatnot, and I just like explained my story, and like a lot of people were like, "Oh." Like, I explain my story in detail and be like, I know exactly why you're here. I know exactly who sent you here. I know exactly what they said to you because it's the same thing they've done 1,000 times. And then I'm like, look up my record or whatever. And like, we'll sit there and like, as these people that want to kill me are like, I'm talking to them, trying to convince them, and they're looking up stuff and they're like, can't find anything on me. And then they're like, oh shit, like they feel bad. I've had that happen a lot. And that's one thing that what they're trying to do with Mexico, I feel, is like, I'm going to Mexico. And now they're saying all this stuff like, I escaped to Mexico and they're hoping someone disposes of me down there or somewhere else that like they can just like phrase it in a way that they want to phrase it um like I spoke to a law enforcement sheriff yesterday. Nothing about I was camping in a place I shouldn't have been camping. It wasn't anything serious, but like I'm in Silver City, New Mexico, on my way to Mexico. Report me. Let's throw my evidence. That there's a lot of stuff I have not put up and I'm not going to put up until certain things happen, and that's why I'm very slow at putting things up because I'm catching these people in lies.
Mm.
um there's a like I have to be tactical in this stuff because it's not just getting my mom and my brother. It's about getting like a lot more people, a lot freaking more people than this them because they're inconsequential.
Well,
Um,
I suspect. So I popped into your live for just a moment earlier, and I heard you. I don't have like I know people with podcasts. I would love to start a podcast. I mean, but like I'm just trying to get your story in one spot so that it can be shared. I didn't mean to make you misunderstand, but when I was telling you about that Project Monarch, it it's supposedly a conspiracy theory, but I some of that stuff I do believe. And Project Monarch, they would use children. And do you know what dissociative identity disorder is? It's like
where you
it's
don't know
it's
who you are, you're someone
it's like
else, or you're
it's oftentimes I think it used to be called like multiple personalities, like when somebody develops different strains of their own personality to protect them. And this Project Monarch was part of this. Well, it started as MK Ultra, and MK Ultra was like the like trying to figure out mind control. And this guy worked for the CIA, and he was like feeding people LSD and like doing all kinds of shit, trying to learn how to legitimately control people's minds. And then there was a branch off of that they used children, like children from broken homes who already had. For instance, one of the examples that they used was this little girl whose dad used to take bad pictures of her, and he got caught sending these pictures through the mail. And the police came, or CIA, or whoever came to his house, and rather than arresting him, they said, "Let us work with your daughter, and you won't get caught. You won't get caught up in any of this." And then they used her and kind of like, well, definitely groomed her, but like did a bunch of like psychological damage to her so that she would be like a spy, or not necessarily a spy, but like be able to work with um be malleable, be controllable, so that they could send her in and do the things that they wanted her to do. And she ended up writing a book about it. I think I wrote it down somewhere. I can send you the information for it after this. But it, it
You think
it's just like go ahead. I didn't
you
hear
think
you.
my situation like parallel to that or related to that in some
It
way?
sounds similar,
Yeah,
I don't know that it would necessarily be the exact same thing, but it sounds like your mom
well,
was probably doing some fucked up shit and they caught her doing it, so she was just trying to save her ass. Maybe
yeah.
not to
Well,
you,
no,
just in general.
my 20s, like 25 at this point, years after knowing a bunch of this stuff happened or whatever. Like I knew that the law enforcement were not investigating my case. They were like, we've talked about it many, many times. They had a law enforcement officer show me a picture of my mom sitting on her adoptive father, because my mom was adopted. She was sitting on her adoptive father's lap. My adoptive father was not happy about this, and and they told me that it was, they're like, so your mom has to do like, like everyone has to do stuff that they don't like for this kind of stuff, and they were saying like, like your mom had to do it too, like don't feel bad that you have to do this kind of thing, like buck up kind of bullshit. um And so my theory, and this is like I've heard one thing from my aunt that contradicts what I was told by the sheriffs there, and like that picture and everything. But the picture and everything seems more confirmable, especially because my mom's adoptive father is in law enforcement, and um, they oh shoot, I totally I'm losing track of my thought. Um, Law enforcement. Oh yeah. So my aunt Debbie told me that around high school or middle school, she's like, I can't. She's like, I can't believe your mom got in touch with these people when we were in high school or something. So my mom and my aunt and dad, my dad's sister, my aunt, they all hung out around each other, I guess, around this time. But the so she said something like, I don't know why she ever started getting in touch with these people or hanging out with these people or something like that. And then but that was in high school, and then this picture of my mom, she's like 12 or something like that, like pretty young.
How old was your mom when she had you?
Like 20.
Mhm. That was one of
Supposedly
my
she
questions.
supposedly, and this is something I've been told back and forth 1,000 times too.
I
Supposedly
didn't
she's oh I was gonna
I
say
didn't hear that.
she was 20 when she had me, give or take a year. Um and there's a lot of lies to that too. She was like, she told me that I was born 2 months early, and that I was so small I could fit in the palm of her hands, and they had special wipes for me, and that the doctor said that the birth was going to kill her, but she had me anyways, and just like nonsense like that. And my aunt Veronica said that none of that is true. She's like, no, none of that is true. I was there, yada yada yada. But my aunt Veronica's same boat. My aunt Veronica is all of her kids are in the military. Her sister's husband is law enforcement, a sheriff. My aunt Veronica told me that she was raped while growing up, and that it was because she just didn't do like get with the family. Like she just was just not doing what she was supposed to be doing, and she had to give away her kids that she was raped by. Um, and it was like the hardest thing she ever did. But just like getting with it is just what we need to do. Like,
I'm sorry. There's somebody that I thought I already blocked that said something to me earlier that I didn't want, and it says that they're still watching, and I don't know.
can you? Yeah, no, take screenshots of that because I already have. That's my brother and my family and everyone involved in traffic.
Cashley 139.
Yeah,
It says
a lot
it's a man. It
of,
looks like a man's picture, but
yeah, yeah. There's also a lot of like attractive women. I'm gay, but attractive women. I can tell like I don't know, I'm trying to be rude, but like attractive women commenting like the same kind of stuff my brother is, and they're not like very childless responses. And I theorize that these people that are real, that aren't my brother, and these people like directly involved, or whatever. I think a lot of these other people are that are messaging, or I might this is a complete speculation. but that they are victims of trafficking and that they're being told because they're like their responses are like nonsensical. They're like, "Oh, I've looked through all the evidence. You don't have anything." And I was like, "Except for all these screenshots." And they're like, "Nuh-uh," like just
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous stuff. And this one thing, and one thing I try to draw attention to is full-grown adults are not dumb. Like we know how to conversate. Like so when people act completely ridiculous, it's not like everyone in the world just didn't become crazy one day. Like there's reasons for this stuff. Um,
No, and
that's my like.
I
Sorry, go for it.
no, I just like some of the reason that I offered is because like I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at listening, you know what I mean? And like I believed you since the first that I had an old TikTok account that I've seen you on before then too. And I believed you the whole time, you know, but I wanted to offer that to you, a place just to get it all out. That way, like you have somebody who's listening, you know, not only for
Yeah,
yourself, but for whatever you want to do moving forward. And I don't know, this person, this was probably maybe even an hour ago now. They said everyone he meets becomes a part of his story. You will be part of it now too. And like, I don't believe that. Like, I just want to like clarify I don't have any reason to be here other than I want
well,
to, you know, and I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I've been a part of your lives, and I've seen people doing shit and talking shit
it's
and trying to antagonize you. I've seen it. So,
one thing is like the obvious answer to that is if with organized crime and trafficking, you're going to have your victims around other people that victimize people. You're like the goal is to subjugate people uh, to make it harder. Be quiet, you bird. The goal is to make it like harder for your victims to speak out against you, and so you're going to keep them around either specific people that are other victims or people that are like minimize legitimate contacts. Keep them around other people that are that victimize other people or that are victims. Like that's not like
mhm.
it's not like I'm meeting like the gas station attendant, like all the gas stations like attendants that I when I drove down here that they're all involved or something like that or like every like I don't know. There's yeah. I
No,
mean
I get it. My mother was very narcissistic. Like I didn't go through it as bad as you have by any means, but I know what it looks like when somebody goes out of the way to invalidate a story for their own benefit, you know, like I had some pretty bad things happen to me and I shared that with my mom and she told me she believed me, then went way out of her way to like all of my family members to invalidate me in general. That way, if I said anything, it would just seem like I was lying. And she's continued that all the way through my entire life. She still does it. And it's just like so it's so second nature to her now that she just makes herself the victim and then, you know, so like I just see it and I recognize it and I'm not gonna let whatever I'm not gonna let that like bother me. That holds no weight. I was just trying to block them from this live, and it doesn't look like I'm able to. I blocked them from being able to comment, but I guess I can't block them from watching. That was the only.
that's
But no, I
fine. Like
definitely don't.
they can watch all they want. And my on my other lives, they kept on messaging. They're like this person was like Barbara or whatever, and then the person was like
Yeah, I was there
our
for
mom.
that.
It was my brother. Like they stated multiple times that it was them or whatever. And then they mentioned that they've been using the same accounts. And I recently of took screenshots of my brother having conversations with himself on his TikTok page. Like he's like, "Oh, did this happen?" Like, "Oh, I can't believe like he would do that." Like, "Yeah, this is strange." Like, and this is reminiscent to all those comments that they have videos of me messaging people threatening them. Like that's my brother and other people. Like some of these things are from my phone, and this is context that I'll be able to tell during the story. But people using my phone and then also like Facebook accounts or hacking into my Facebook accounts or like so
Mm,
fake Facebook accounts hacking into my Facebook accounts and then also using my phone with people that I was being trafficked by like Rod Barnes or not trafficked like I wasn't ever sexually assaulted by Rod Barnes, but he was involved in like covering it up and stuff. There's different levels of criminality.
mm,
Um, Rod Barn would take my phone. Cottrell Jones, who I originally known as Jacob, would take my phone. This guy named Pedro, can't remember his name right now. Pedro something, and his boyfriend, who I was. This is one of the last times I was sexually assaulted. Um, Nick Flurry, in these people are in Eugene. They would take my phone. One time, I remember as after my face got tattooed, um, they made me go to their house and then said that they were going to strip me naked, call the police, and make me walk home from their house back to my house if I didn't give them my phone. And then they took my phone and took it into their room, and then like a bunch of recordings, a bunch of evidence that I had against my therapist, telling me to shoot up a school, was deleted out of there, and that's my therapist Lisa, and she's military background. And then the interesting stuff is too is how would I know all this stuff? So this stuff can be verified. Um,
No, yeah, I
so and this is like Lisa's told me to. She said it was her job to see if she can get me to shoot the school while I lived at Rod Barnes' house when he had a bunch of guns at his house when I lived like 1,000 feet from elementary school. Like people want to say like I've had people say like, well, maybe she knew, like maybe she was just trying to test you to see if she needed to commit you. I was like, no, like you, like she's been to my house. She's seen the guns. Like she knew it's like people aren't dumb. They know what they're doing when they're saying shit. Like you gotta stop. We gotta stop treating like full grown adults as children. Like like people know how to manipulate people.
yeah.
Um,
People know how to force people to manipulate people too. Like it's not hard to get something on somebody who may not even be related. She may have been a great therapist, and then they got something on her, and then she was just like, okay, well, fuck this guy then.
exactly.
It's me or against him.
I mean, and then there's been other ways of manipulating people, like I said earlier, with people coming up to me wanting to kill me because my mom and them, like, they would think they were doing something good, like, oh, we got to get this guy. Um, so people get manipulated thinking that they're doing something good too. I've had so many people say like they're wondering like why isn't my family on my side? Why isn't my brother helping me? I think I just saw a comment on that. That's what brought this up. And to me, it's like obvious. My brother's been threatened and has this stuff happen to him all the time. We've tried to speak out about it all the time. Bad things always happen. My brother has kids now. One of his kids, Jordan, I don't know for sure, but he's not seen his kid Jordan since he was like born. So my brother has two other kids now. Um, And so, like, obvious stuff, like, why wouldn't someone X come forward? Like, hey, what is it going to do? Like, let's say everyone in my family agrees with me and they come forward tomorrow. What is that going to do? Nothing. Nothing. Famous people, everyone comes forward all the time. No one does shit. I'm saying this not because I think good things are going to happen. I'm saying this knowing I'm probably going to fucking die. Or, like, be made crazy or something, yada, yada. I just don't have the heart to, like, not speak about this stuff. It just seems like contradictory to human nature. But like literally, like nothing's gonna happen. It's not like people are gonna do anything. Like no one's gonna do anything. Like I just really 100%, 100%. Like no offense, like I get help with like some money here and there, and whatnot. And I really do appreciate that. But as far as like doing what the actions that are needed to do, no one like no one's willing to do it. No one's gonna like go to war for me. No one's going to go to war for my family. No one's going to go to war for anyone. Like,
It's hard.
what everyone, or yeah, what I was going to say, what everyone's going to do is go to the law enforcement and be like, okay, we know, like, they have to know that they're involved. Not everyone in law enforcement, but the people that control how things like gatekeepers, like the vast majority of sergeants or like chiefs or whatever. I'm bad with terminology, but the people that like run precincts, the people that are gatekeepers for a lot of these things in court, etc. Like people, because people have no, like, for some reason have like I don't know. I have no idea why people do this. They go to the people that are doing bad things and they ask them to pretty please stop, or like pretty please do this and this, and they keep the people that are continually doing the bad things, whether you want to say it's my stuff or stuff that's completely unrelated to my stuff around other politics, and they just I don't like 100%. I don't care. Like I don't care. Like people need to do what they did in the French Revolution. We fucking beheaded King James. like we as a species. Like I'm not saying just like go around beheading people, but like we need to we need like as not just, and this isn't just exclusively in the United States. This is really what I feel globally for not just for this type of corruption, but like in not to get political here, but in Myanmar, there's the Rohingya, which are being genocided against. In China, there's the Uyghur Muslims being put in concentration camps. There's stuff at our border, being people being put in concentration camps. People don't want to call them that, but f you, that's what they are, not you. But like uh, people, if people want to solve these problems, you got to get rid of the root issue, like what's causing it. Like you got to stop like saying like please and protesting. Like this will show them that doesn't like that just says like that tells them who you are, like who the people are that are going to speak up. That's like, okay, this guy's speaking up, this guy's speaking up, like keeping records, and maybe back off a little bit, and then when they're not suspecting it, continue the process of whatever it is. If it's, again, my issue or another completely different, unrelated issue. That's 100% my political view.
No, it's hard to know what to do anyways, because we do like in this society we're on like it's like a tripod and it's all like each leg of it is fucking corruption, so it's really hard to know what to do, but I think people talking and listening like at least gets it out there, at least puts those seeds in people's heads to question what they see. And unfortunately, like I don't know if you particularly will get any justice for what has happened because it is so deep. And I wish that wasn't the case. And I'm not going to say you're not. I'm not sure. I hope you do. But like, if people hear you, if people can like hear your story and be like, that sounds similar to something else that I've heard, you know what I mean? Then maybe like the people who are still in it and still struggling, the children who are still going through it, maybe somebody will be more likely to believe them. So it's like a lot of things need to change. A lot of things need to change on every level, every direction we look at. But for one, to help yourself, to make you okay talking about it and getting yourself out there and like being believed is a big deal. But then also to like allow it's like your story may possibly, and it's a lot more than that, but like than just this, but it may be like a little bit of a buffer between somebody who's like not listening, I don't believe anything, and they hear your story, and then they again, like I said, if there's other kids, there are other people going through this, and they hear this again, it's like how do two or three or five or 20 people have similar stories? Like at least that puts enough question in there for people to start paying attention, and that's really what I hope.
I mean, yeah,
You know.
no, I mean, for any issue, even minor, like let's say household issues or something, knowing is half the battle, and then the other half is action. Like, we got to decide what kind of.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, be careful. Stay with my grandpa. Okay. He's old.
Uh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, yeah, I mean, I have like, I don't want to. I mean, I, I was gonna say some more stuff like political stuff, like political ideas, but I do have like, I mean, I'll say a little bit. Like, I do have some ideas for solutions, and it's easily implementable solution if you don't want to like get rid of your leaders because you don't feel comfortable with that for some reason, and like have regular people. Um, the best and easiest thing to do is for every country doing this is support transparency by making it to where if you're in law enforcement or social services like CPS workers, staff members, politicians, while you're working, you need to be under 24-hour surveillance. Like what you do affects, if you're a politician, what you do affects at least 320 million people. If you're in law enforcement, what you do affects however many people live in your city or your county. Um, CPS workers, you're affecting children. Like, there's no reason, and these recordings, not to be kept by the businesses or the companies or the organizations. They need to be at the end of the day uploaded into the internet on like government YouTube, where you can just watch everything all the time. And stop. We can't have like a system where we do this and then have to request it, like
Yeah.
request the
From the
evidence from the people
agency
that
that wants to hide it.
exactly. It's so obviously dumb to me, and it's just like the only people that support this stuff. Like I don't. I personally do not believe that there are random people that support this stuff. I think all these people that support this stuff are the husbands, wives, and family members of law enforcement or people that are forced to like make videos and be like, "Yo, this is why we should have this," and it's like, dude, like you look like you've had a rough life. I know you don't believe what you're saying. That's just my opinion. That's speculation, but like transparency at the very least. If people are unwilling to do stuff, it's transparency that people need to advocate, and this recording, audio and video recordings to politicians, law enforcement, CPS workers, etc. If you're on as you are working, you need to be recorded. There's no reason not to be. There's no reason why to keep like crime proliferates through secrecy. And that is my like opinion. If that's not an obvious fact, if you know, one more thing before we continue, you got to know to be able to solve the issue again. You have to be made aware of it. Like you can't know that there's a problem or made aware of it. You can't be made aware of it unless there's transparency. So the first thing you got to have is transparency. After that, nothing can happen. Or before that, I'm sorry, before that, nothing can happen.
I think
Um,
that any level of government where I think in any I don't want to say government because everybody blames the government for everything, but I think at any level where there is okay,
yeah, rolling down the window. It's getting warm in here. Sorry.
no worries. In any level of like job, government work where you are should be held to a higher standard, like law enforcement, any type of Congress, Senate, all of that, like it should be a felony to lie. Like at the very least, at the very, very least, if you get caught lying, you are fucked because like you're held to a higher standard. Like you're supposed to be. If you're a police officer, you need to be
And
telling the truth all the time. Like you need to
corruption,
be able to be trusted.
100%. I feel like corruption is like a term used like too frivolously nowadays, or it's not taken seriously. But corruption really is like what that word means and what that like the implications of corruption within law enforcement and politics is it's how do you say like gosh, it's just so extreme that it can affect everyone like
Mhm.
on so many, it's so insidious. But I want to focus now, so like I'm gonna recap the last few years of elementary school, and then I have a little bit of middle school, and then group homes. So let's see. Moved to Saver Circle, Long Tran. My mom, like Long Tran, disappeared. Mom said um, that she didn't want him living there, and then his dad committed suicide supposedly, and then he disappeared. So he supposedly though he got taken to social services. Um, and then oh, I was in the same apartment. I didn't mention this yet. My mom made me lay down so she could give me a back massage, and then she put something next to her and she stuck that up me. And then my brother came in with a friend like as that was happening, and the kid got really freaked out. And he's like telling my brother why did he show that to him, and then I don't know, no idea what happened to that kid. Um, and then yeah, gosh, and so let's see. There's that. There was I already mentioned the Mario Paint thing. Um, Valley Circle. I already mentioned the thing in fifth grade with my mom giving me that Power Rangers cake that was poisoned. Um, I guess are we done with elementary school?
I feel
Um,
like you covered a lot of it. I know you did talk about the Mr. Blaster thing, which I've heard you say before. Um, you did bounce around a little bit, but that's not, I completely understand. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
And then,
Campbell.
um, gosh, my blood sugar's a little low. And in a second here, I'm gonna get like a snack, because I have stuff, but I don't have to go anywhere. But I'm just gonna grab something here in a minute.
Yeah, no worries.
So we're in. Yeah, there's not much there. I don't know why this is okay. Here's one thing: my brother had to teach me how to read with through Goosebumps and Final Fantasy VII, because my mom wouldn't teach me how to read. Um, and then um, I remember this one kid slammed me on my head at the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know why this matters. I remember this. Okay, here's two stories about the Boys and Girls Club. This one kid slammed me on my head in the gymnasium, the Boys and Girls Club, and my brother punched him. I don't know why that sticks out in my head, but that really sticks out. And then at the Boys and Girls Club, I remember I used to sing. They used to have like speakers, and I used to sing Ricky Martin and like dance all the time in front of the speakers. And then one of the staff thought it was really weird, but then this other staff member was like really encouraging of it. That kind of stuck out. That was kind of odd to me. Um, could be nothing. Could be nothing. Um, let's see. And then, gosh, I remember at the Boys and Girls. Here's another story at the Boys and Girls Club. And right around this time, I couldn't hang out there anymore because I think too many people were noticing me. So, like, you remember how I said in when I first went to elementary school when I started school late, there was kids making stuffed animals, like stuffed whales. Like there's like we had cut like whales and then put like cotton in them. I did the same thing, but with Pokemon. I made like I went into the art room and made like Pokemon, and then like got like what's it called, like cotton string or whatever, like stuff you crochet with, and I tied them to me, and so I'd walk around and I'd have like Pokemon following me, and like that and the Ricky Martin thing, me being really noticed. After that, my mom said I wasn't allowed to go to the Boys and Girls Club anymore, and I had to go straight home. And then like a month or two after that, my brother ended up stopped going too. Um,
There's
yeah,
nothing, I just want to say, like, there's absolutely nothing weird about you being a kid and singing and dancing and doing that. Like, I just want to tell you that. Like,
thank you.
I don't, that's a normal kid
The,
thing to do.
the Ricky Martin thing I think was kind of goofy, but like I don't know. I wish I was like stuff like that. I wish I was like not like I don't know how you nurture that better, but I can feel like I don't know. I guess like I like that part of like my childhood is like thinking about that now. I'm like I almost wanted to curse because like I was like 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 so happy and like I don't know. I was so like proud of myself and like I've never really had like I mean I feel like when you say like it's normal or whatever, but I've never had like my mom proud of me of it or proud uh my mom was never proud of me. I've never had anyone really like proud of me. Uh and that sucks. I'm saying like no one that like I'm connected to on like a strong emotional level, whatever. No offense to anyone. Um, but gosh, that was really cool. I remember being so proud of myself with the little Pokemon things. But okay, so that was Boys and Girls Club, and then so that was I don't remember, that might have been third or fourth grade or something like that, maybe fifth grade. I don't think I went to the Boys and Girls Club in sixth grade, and so sixth grade I was at Dwyer. One thing to note is me and this kid, the only kid that was shorter than me in school, the only kid that was shorter than me. Me and this kid got into a fight, and then this old guy was watching the fight down like there was the school and there was like a park next to Dwyer, and this old guy was watching the fight, walked up to me, and then after the fight, I like cried. And then the next day, Tony or Anthony disappeared. Like,
The
never
guy you got
went to
into a
my
fight
school.
with?
Yeah, never went to my school again. And I didn't hurt him. Like he didn't hurt me. Like it was just like a high, like middle school, like kid fight, like slapping hands kind of thing. I remember my brother was there. I remember my brother telling me to go Super Saiyan. Like he was like, "Go Super Saiyan!" Like it's an anime reference. Um, and gosh. And that old guy is that I remember in that fight. I remember some people I don't know their names too. Some of these people might be people that I think they are. Like some people are like some people have messaged me. They're like, Rob and Garrett don't even look like how you say they look like. And I was like, well, they could have said that their names were Rob and Garrett. I wasn't checking IDs, you know? Like it could have been other people. Uh, but like like Rob Campbell. We always would go to Rob Campbell's house. Luke Campbell, for example, when I was in I'm skipping ahead a bit. When I was in CRF, every morning you go to the day room and they say your name and they like your first and last name and they tell you how many points you made, right? And one day, I go to the day room with all the kids, 14 or 15 boys, and then they go through the names and they say Luke Campbell. And I'm like, at first I look over and I'm like, oh, like I remember I said something about Star Wars. Like Luke gets really angry and was like, it has to do with God, kind of thing. And then he gets mad at the staff for saying his name, and he just walks out. The guy's like, no, you can't leave. And he's like, no, like my dad's gonna pick me up or something. And then he just leaves, and nothing ever happens with that. And that was because it was Luke Campbell, and he was there as like a little fucking infiltrator. And the same thing
Mm.
happened in high school when I was in ninth grade when this girl said that she liked me, and then this girl ended up becoming super anorexic. And one day she came up to me like crying and freaking out, saying like, "Why am I doing this to her?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And it's like, "Your friends are telling me that you want me to do these things." And I was like, "My friends? Like, I didn't really have too many friends in high school because of everything." And then like she's like, "Your friend Luke." And I look behind her. I'm like, "I don't know this guy." And I'm like, "Oh, I know you. Like you're Luke. Blah 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 blah." Like I'm excited, kinda. And then um I was like, I haven't seen you since whatever. And then I was like, I don't know. Like before, like right before that, I was like, I don't know who you are. And when I said I didn't know like who he was, she just broke down and started crying and freaking out. One way to hopefully find her is like not only through the yearbooks because I can point her out, and you can confirm if she had an anorexia problem. You can confirm if she's still alive or not. Yada yada. She had a really tall friend, really tall friend with pink hair that always wore it in like ponytails, really short. Not like really short, but like like whatever. Uh, it's so This is the thing that pisses me off. Is like it's so obvious this shit's been going on, and like this is why I don't think shit's ever gonna fucking happen, man. I don't think anything's ever gonna happen. Um, because it's not like everyone is expecting law enforcement to do it. Everyone is expecting it's like, oh, we have the truth. Let's take this to court. Let's or like at the very best, it's about damage control. They're gonna pick out the people that they absolutely need to throw away, and then save everyone else. And they're gonna just do the same thing different day. Like, I
But you being
just
okay, like you getting the shit out and like sorting out what is and isn't real. Because I have to imagine, like, with the amount of gaslighting that you've gone through, like you question yourself, even you feeling compelled to like explain, uh, say like the levels of like how much you remember things. Like explain that to me. To me, that makes me feel like you are concerned that you won't be believed. You know what I mean? Like, I believe you completely. Um, but like even just getting it out and having these conversations and working through it and having people believe you, like that is helpful to you. And
yeah
like all you can do is take care of you. You know what I mean? And hope other people hope it doesn't happen anymore. And if it does happen, hope people can identify it and stop it, but like there may not be like this big moment of justice, which there should be. There may not be. I don't know. But like you are like taking care of yourself
yeah.
right now by talking about it. You know?
I No, I feel that, and I hear what you're saying. I wanted to address, kind of through conversation, a couple questions that was made on my end that caught my eye. One thing that I have not been able to do because I don't know how because I've been purposely miseducated. I don't know how to search up a lot of the stuff on my own. I don't know how to look up obituaries. I don't know how to look up if obituaries could be hidden or something like that. And then one thing also is someone says that he would immediately be disposed of. Someone's like saying like if there were so many people involved, um I would have been offed already, you know? And the whole point is like because like what I've been referred to, what many people have been referred to that I've spoken to or whatever, or that I've been with, is were projects. And so someone's like, why haven't I been disposed of when I was younger or something or now whatever? Is why would you work on something your entire life and just throw it away? Like you only throw it away if you absolutely have to. If you can get something else out of it, you're going to get something else out of it because the only goal isn't just trafficking people. Like if that was the only crime in the world, yeah, that would make total perfect sense. But it's ridiculous to think that human traffickers, the only crime they commit is trafficking. Like that they're not involved in many, many, many other things. And so if they can get anything out of it, out of decades of work, they're going to get something out of it out of decades of work. It's not an opinion of mine. That's basically what has been told to me when I've been thrown in the back of many, many law enforcement vehicles, uh, talking about not only my trafficking story, but talking about a lot of stuff that I can't even mention right now because it's again like not only out of context, it wouldn't make sense and not be non-believable, and that's why I want to tell the story more so I can mention certain things that I've been refraining from mentioning because there's very little to any context that I have out yet. But then also there's just some stuff that like it's so out like it's nothing like stupid like I'm not like I don't believe in aliens that have been to the earth or something like that or like ship shifting lizard people or ridiculous stuff like that, but it's so out there for so many people that I think most people would find that to be like a discrediting thing for me. um and it's yeah, but like I don't know, I digress.
Well, and like when, and I hope I'm sure you take care of yourself. I'm sure you, I'm sure you do your best to like cover your own tracks. But like to me, the thought, the concern that popped into my mind when you said projects and why would you throw that away is like potential future scapegoat. You know what I mean? Like they have
Exactly,
this
and that is one of the
history of people talking about this and being whatever they want to label you as. And then I don't know. I don't want to
and
say
that's
too
another.
much. Go
No,
ahead.
no, you're fine.
Sorry.
You're fine. That's another thing too. Is like, yeah, like there's so many reasons to have someone around that's like doing stuff. There's so like people are very easily manipulatable, and this is one thing which I've explained to someone in person recently that I kind of like divulge. Not say like I probably made them a little uncomfortable by saying so much, but like it's so easy to traffic someone. Imagine I know someone, like I know a group of people, whatever. We live and let's say we live in Silver City. I know a few people, and I'm just like, hey, like Stacy, we've known each other for a couple years. Do you mind going over to my friend's house and picking up my PlayStation 4? There are going to be a couple people there, and they'll let you in. Just shit. I lost the internet connection. Oh,
You're good. I hear you.
I lost the internet. I'm sorry. So yeah, to recap in case my people didn't see that. So in Silver City, let's say I have a bunch of friends and I want to traffic someone. I want to have someone get sexually assaulted. It's for either my gain or I'm being told to do this by someone forcing me to do this. I'm gonna be like, hey, like Stacy or whatever. We've known each other for a couple years. Like I don't need to say that, but like setting up the scenario. I've known Stacy for a few years. There's no reason why she doesn't trust me. I'm like, hey, like, do you mind going over to my friend's house while I'm at work? I'm glitching out really bad on my end. Um, but let's say, yeah, I left my PlayStation over there. I'm at work and I want Stacy to pick it up. There's gonna be a couple people there. They're my friends. Don't worry. Just go into the back and grab it. They'll let you in, and it's a setup. It's a setup for you to be sexually assaulted. Or I could be like, hey, my car is at my house. Can you drive it to my work because I got dropped off and I thought someone was gonna take me home. There's a dead body in it. You don't know that, but the cops know that, and they're gonna pick you up on the on your way leaving, and then I'm gonna be. I have no idea how that happened. She took my car. It's so fucking easy to do this to people. It's so fucking easy to like. It's so fucking easy to manipulate people and ruin someone's life in a heartbeat. Like with like the most seediest trickery, like to frame someone, to have someone have their hands on something that there, is evidence or something, or like it just it boggles me how like cartoonish people think the government is, or like, and I'm the government. I'm not referring to like the postman. I'm referring to the same elements of corruption in every single government. So like, if you don't believe the United States could be to be corrupt, then you must not believe in like the Holocaust. Like literally, like if you believe like the same law enforcement, doctors, politicians, and be like, oh, but we're not Jewish or something. Like they didn't just affect people who were Jewish. They also affected people that were Roma. They affected people that were handicapped. They affected people that were uh, lesbian and gay. Um, like people don't need reasons to be corrupt, like per se. Like if they just think and this is why I'm terrified of nationalism. Like I think nationalism it's good. It's good to have pride in your culture. It's good to have pride in your community. But if you have like this pride in your nation, that to me is like, okay, you have this like you can turn a blind eye to some bad stuff. Personally, like I don't know. Yeah,
No, I
politics.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I do. It's and everybody just wants to live in their little comfort bubble. Like, um, inside the norm. Like anything that's outside of the norm is crazy. Like, no, that's not really going on. Like, there's a hell of a lot of shit going on that we don't even listen to because it sounds crazy. And that crazy shit's more real than what we hear on the news, what we hear, in media, in my
Yeah, I mean a
opinion.
good. No, totally. I mean like people like gosh like I mean I'm not going to say like all media is bad, but I guarantee you there are people that are Republican watching that are like liberal media lies. There are people that are Democrats watching that say Republican media or conservative media lies, but they don't think it about their own media. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, reality is not subjective, it's objective. So whenever every time when someone tells a story, if there's someone giving a different story to the same subject, someone has to be lying. And like I don't know, there's just like bare minimum premises that have to be understood that are like that show that like I don't know, this stuff is A possible, but B it's not like people have to take just my word. There's a lot of stuff that could be confirmed and looked into. All of it. Like stuff that's 100% like the staff members at CRF group homes, three of them got framed. Ray committed suicide supposedly, but he got framed. He was like he got arrested and he left and he came back and told me to stop saying to like he's like please tell them I didn't do this and I was like I have no idea what you're talking about. My mom and Luther, the staff members that were sexually assaulted, my mom and a staff member that was sexually assaulting kids, and Purnell, the manager, who's still the manager today, took comic book drawings that this guy was drawing of kids and drew wieners on them and then said that he was giving those to kids. That was Ray. Jimmy found out that they were handing out sex toys every single night, like rags and gloves and lotion, so that all the kids could beat off. Um, and
And then they frame people who do step forward though too.
what was that?
It's like the people who do step up against it, those are the ones who end up framed for the actual crime. It's easy. It's just like one big foul, whoop, get rid
Yeah,
of all the
it
problems
is.
at once and continue to do what you're doing.
I was going to say it is because of Jimmy, Ray, and Barrett, and because of what they saw, and they got That's why they got arrested. That's why they got framed. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were the only people, like one of the few people there that were doing good. Other people were told that they couldn't work there anymore. They had to like go to work at different places. Like Layla was told that she couldn't work there because I was playing Layla by Eric Clapton. And I like was like, I was trying to like relate to people like specifically and connect to people because it's probably because I was such a forced to be a loner kind of thing. But I remember she was mad at me. She's like, "Oh, I have to like leave or whatever because of something I did," and I didn't get it. And I remember a bunch of people came over one day and like sat her down as she was at work, and like they were like handing paperwork. And after that, she left, and that was Layla. These things can be confirmed. There's other staff members that work there. Like, what's it called? Business employment records. Employment records are a thing. Like, we got it. Like, I don't know how to look this stuff up. I am not educated, and so people who have an IQ that are fairly high and are educated enough to know how to go about this afford some of these. Like, these are minor costs. I know some of these things are, but like $20 to most people is like a year's worth of money to me. Generally speaking, I've actually like the amount of money that I've made the last 2 years through work and TikTok, which has only been like maybe including donations, like $300. I think I've gotten through TikTok. Um, that's like so much money to me. Like, I was never allowed to have money when I was in my 20s. I was not allowed to work. Um, I was in a car accident with this guy in Prescott, Arizona, who later wrote a letter saying that he committed suicide, but then later found out supposedly that he never did commit suicide. But I got 10 grand from that, and then my mom took all like almost all that money. I got a $200 car and my dog Karma, who I have her earn with me. That's what I got out of it. And then my mom told me to keep it with her, the money with her. This is like right before. This is like when I was like 20 or 19. This is right before I started hitchhiking, and it's only after I went hitchhiking that I discover that I get picked up by law enforcement and they want to investigate my case. And then a year or two later, it came out that they were investigating my case, that they were one of the first people that molested me. Um, Gosh. So sorry. So middle school, jumped around a lot. So middle school, Dwyer. I remember and this is one thing to mention. Atlas. My mom worked for Atlas Van Lines, and she was the accountant for them. And then right around this time, she worked for two trucking companies. I can't remember the other one right now, but they were both located in Southern California, Orange County area. She was the
Atlas
accountant
what?
for
I'm sorry. Atlas.
Atlas Van Lines. It's a well-known trucking company nowadays. But my mom was the accountant for this company, and could be unrelated, but this is a parrot. This is just something that I've noticed. Is the company the guy who owned the company got sued and or arrested and lost the company when my mom was the accountant uh, for like money fraud. You know,
Hmm.
looked up. That could be looked up. I'm not the gatekeeper for information. So people gotta stop bitching at me about like not you or whatever, but like every once in a while I'll see a comment of like, oh, he's saying this and backtracking yada yada. I've been gaslit a lot, but there's a lot of stuff that 100% could be looked up. And just because one thing doesn't make sense or doesn't come to fruition doesn't mean nothing can. Like, everyone else who says this is super easy to look into and stuff, do it then. Do it then and post it online. Send me copies and I'll post my wrongs. I've already posted one person that I thought was dead. I got a message from someone saying that he's not dead. I haven't heard from him directly though, but I posted up a video saying that I was told that Yerky isn't dead. I was told that he was dead, but I have not heard from Yerky, and the people that I'm speaking to have given me excuses why he won't go online to tell me himself that he's not dead because he doesn't like internet.
Well, I mean that's valid enough if that's the case, but like
I mean, well,
it's not
he said, yeah, sorry, go for it, go for it.
it's
I
not
interrupted.
easy for me to find. No, it's okay. No, no, no. It's I have a hard time with seemingly easy things too. Like my brain is I got ADHD brain. My shit's always just running so fast. It's very, very hard for me to sit down and like troubleshoot simple problems. So like yeah, maybe obituaries are available, maybe the shit, but it's hard. It's hard to
Yeah,
find that. It's hard to understand how to go about finding that. And it's a lot, especially when you have so much of a story to go
like
through.
exactly, like, and I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say again, like I don't know how to do this, but supposedly it's so easy to look into, and then like someone just messaged right now, they're like, Joe and Abe and Mike Langhammer aren't dead, and I've even said before that I believe they are dead, but specifically in my video, I believe they are dead, but I've been gaslit. And so if they're not dead, just have them fucking post a video. Then that'd be a huge discrediting thing, you know. Easy as pie,
It
easy
doesn't
as
even have to
pie.
discredit you though. Like just because like you're living, I keep calling it bubbles, and bubble can be dis I don't know. I don't mean to like discredit or brush it off as something not as important as it is, but I just use bubble because that's within my bubble. That's all I know in life. So like that doesn't mean that because from your experience you believe somebody's dead and they're not dead, that doesn't make your experience wrong. That just makes you unaware of in particular person's story. But that doesn't make
Well,
you any less
yeah, yeah. Well,
honest.
I was gonna say even when I say that like when I say I was told Joe and Willie or Joe and Abraham or Mike Langhammer when I was told that they were killed, I'm not saying I told myself that when I saw it. I'm saying I was told that by the people that were doing this to me. And so if someone wants to lie to you, um, they can easily lie to you and have you think something happened that didn't happen. It's not like I was living in Huntington Beach in my 20s. I was literally being passed around the United States either by being trafficked and also trying to escape myself and hitchhike around and just like I was just trying to live my life. Like I ended up doing a few big trips and like some stuff that made me happy. Um, so I was just it's just like this stuff is just happening. Like I'm not just gonna like lay in a ditch, you know? Like I'm gonna try and live my life.
And that's the thing too, is when people can move on from their problems in a somewhat normal manner to the shallow-minded person, that seems like invalidating of the story in its own. Like I've had horrible things happen to me too, and I'm just gonna go lay in a ditch until I die because I'm so miserable about what happened. Like you still have to try to make life go on. And that doesn't make your story less true. Like I want you to know
Yeah.
that I believe you in that way because it's not fair to expect like oh my gosh. So for instance, like the whole Scott Peterson, I don't know if you know who that was. He supposedly killed his wife and his pregnant wife. I watched like the whole documentary on that. I don't think that he did it, but like media kept talking about, oh, look at his reaction to this. Like that's the reaction of a guilty man. Like, is this man supposed to just be in shambles every waking moment of his life when people are recording him through his bedroom window and when he's trying to get food, when he's trying to feed himself? Oh, he's eating, so he must not be telling the truth. Like, what the fuck? Like, you still have to exist. You still have to try to get by in day to day. That doesn't make you a liar
Yeah,
or
I don't know. I don't know much about that story, but to draw a parallel from what you said, I just made a video about this of someone saying like, "Oh, you look like you're fine," yada, like something like that. Like you look like you're fine, just making videos about this. I'm like, well, yeah, like like everyone else, I have a variety of emotions. Like if someone runs up to you and smacks you in the head with a bat, you're gonna be pissed off for a while, and then you're gonna be fine. You might have PTSD and think about it sometimes and get a little pissy about stuff a little bit or something. But like it's a catch. Like people who say stuff like that, I think are not again adults are not children. I've screenshot like all like 99% of this stuff is I think people when they say stuff like that, they know what they're doing. I think they're involved in some way. In my case, like I don't think people know about emotions. Like it's not like people saying this are two and they're like you will be sad forever. Like no one's that dumb. Like
well, I also think that people just get on the internet and they want to be assholes to other people, so they're just like, "Oh, you're a liar." You know what I mean? Like they don't know shit about it. They don't care about it. They move on to the next person that they talk the same shit to. Like some of it may definitely, like I mean, I believe that some of what you're going through and the interactions that you have are people intentionally trying to fuck with you. But I do not think that everybody is, because I think people are just like on the internet, like people can be and do and say whatever they want to and get away with it. So if they see an opening to like make a stab at somebody else and make them feel good and they give themselves a good laugh, then they're gonna do that too. And it's shitty, but that's part of social
Yeah,
media.
and
That's being connected to
well,
people in the way that they're able to.
and that too, like people do that either because like either for like super dubious reasons, like specific malicious reasons, or they're just abused. Like they're also abused, and they don't like this is just how they take out. Like they're taught to take out their frustrations on other people, kind of thing. But let's see. I want to jump back to the story. So we're at sixth grade. I went to Dwyer, got into that fight with that kid who
Mhm.
disappeared. I need a Dwyer sixth grade yearbook to confirm because I remember seeing him. I remember we took a picture, like took our school pictures together. So I know I could identify him and find out his name. So that could be looked up. So Dwyer Middle School. Um,
What was that kid's name? Do you know?
I want to say like Anthony or Tony something. I know
Oh, that's
exactly what he
right. Okay.
looks like. He's the shortest kid in this in when I was in sixth grade. He's the only kid that was shorter than me. I'm
What
5'2".
what year? What year were you? What year? What year were you born?
I was born in '88. I was born in '88.
Okay.
I'm 32 right now. My birthday is December 21st. And so whatever math people need to do to figure, like to figure out how old I was, I never got held back or pushed forward. Um, so math people can math that on their own.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
why I had to write it down in case I am able to go about looking into it to help you out or somebody else.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of people. I'll say a lot of people. There's a few people that are specifically being like I would say problematically questionable, not skeptical, which is something I prefer,
Just block them.
but problematically questionable, and they're wondering, they're like, when I just wanted to just tell you, is they're asking like who you are and like where you're at, kind of thing. And I'm just
I'm a
like,
stranger that listened to this story that believes this person
yeah,
and
that's yeah,
offered myself to help
yeah,
and listen.
I don't, yeah, I don't need you to say your name. I was just saying that just so you're aware, in case you were like I don't know, I just yeah, at the same, uh, I'm just being
No worries.
cautious and
Thank
just
you,
saying.
though. Yeah, no worries. I appreciate that. I don't give a
Okay,
shit
so
what anybody else says, but thank you.
yeah, no problem, no problem. So I'm just gonna cap over sixth grade and then go to the back and in my car and grab some mango slices.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then yeah, so let's see. So sixth grade, yada yada. Um, okay, here's one more story for sixth grade. My mom would. This is what she would do here. Many times, the school kept on telling me that I needed to wear my PE clothes, and they never gave me my PE clothes. And then the school kept on telling me that I was refusing to take my that I was refusing to wear my PE clothes that my mom bought, and that's because of my mom was saying that. And my mom was telling me that the schools that she bought the PE clothes and the schools lost them, and that she kept on buying more and more, and that I needed to wear used ones. Um, and oh, I just had a flashback. I don't know, it's a different thing. And that I needed to wear used gym clothes, like whatever, like PE clothes. Um, and that yeah, my mom was telling me that the schools weren't providing the clothes that she was buying, and that they were stealing her money. And then the schools were telling me that they've given my mom the clothes many times. Um, and yeah, I just want to, I just it's just so many different things that just suck me out of like, this would affect your grade. I cared a lot about my grade. Like you can see it slant like in my educational record from like when I first like my first 2 or 3 years of school, like A's, B's, and C's, and then and it's not because of me. Like
Well, you
when
were
I was in
going
ninth,
through like a massive trauma too. Like it's impossible for a child who doesn't even know
yeah,
what they're going through is wrong to manage and
yeah. I
juggle.
mean,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, so much manipulation. And then like when I was in ninth grade, I got put back into special ed, And this is like just to show like how intelligent I am ish to an extent. I mean, it's not like nothing amazing, but like I got put into special ed. In class, we were given the ABCs in sign language, and I took the paper home with me. And then within like literally a couple hours, I learned the ABCs in sign language because I walked home, and every single street sign that I walked by, every single business that I walked, or most of them, I was like walking down the street, like on the side of my body, like going like A, B, C, looking at. And then a police officer came up and took the piece of paper from me. Like he's like, oh, you're not as dumb as we thought you were, or something like that. And then there's two police officers, Tim and Brian from Huntington Beach. They are twin brothers. One of them was murdered on the job in 2012. The other one was thrown off a bridge in Oregon in 2019. Or at least the second one I'm like 90% sure, but the first one I'm 100% sure. So they're twin brothers, Tim and Brian from Huntington Beach, and they were made to like they were the officers that came up to my mom when I was in second grade to tell us to leave me out of school for a couple days. I don't remember their last names, but they're Caucasian, tall, white, fit, relatively like handsome looking, dark brown black hair. Um, no one has to take my word for this. If it's so easy to look it up and provide it to me.
What year was
Or
that? What year did what? Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to like. What year do you think the one was murdered?
2012. Or
Okay.
in between 2010 and 2012.
Okay.
No earlier than 2010 and no later than 2012. Um, but then if you another way to look it up is just like there's not too many twin Caucasian police officers in any precinct. Huntington
Yeah.
Beach is a big city. Like it would that's something that could just easily be looked up. And
Mm,
yeah, I'm gonna grab these things real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, I'm gonna go pee really quick, all right? Can you hear me?
Uh,
I'll be right back.
no problem.
All right.
I have to go use the restroom too, but I think it would take too long. I have to like run all the way to Walmart. Let's see. I could read some stuff real quick. Okay. Just some random that's trying to help. How does a pastor get a hold of an adult male cadaver fresh enough to seem like himself and even look like him? Huh? A pastor and cadaver? Where did that come from?
All
Yeah, the
right.
burden of proof does fall those who make the claim, but if you care about human trafficking, you should be able to look this up just as easy.
Are you responding to a comment?
Yeah, a couple comments. People who say that they're trying to help, but like everything they're saying is like an obstacle.
Yeah.
Tell me how to look it up then, and I'll look it up.
People are just full of shit. They literally get on apps like this just so that they can talk shit to other people. Like I can't even believe. So I've gotten into like environmental stuff. Like I care a lot about it and indigenous matters. And like people will talk shit to me about caring. Like if you really cared, then and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like if you really cared, I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing. What are you doing? But sitting here talking shit. So
Yeah, and then like
like
people don't even want to recognize. People keep on 100% like making it their goal to not recognize the stuff that I've already put forward that is evidence. Like people confirming, like, yeah, I know him and his brother from back then. Like this definitely happened. Stuff in group homes. Oh yeah, I was at the same group home as you. A girl got pregnant because the sexual assault was so bad there. Um, someone saying like, "Oh, I was in elementary. Like, I was like, do you remember me? I was in Perry Elementary with you. I remember when you got put in special ed. I thought it was really weird. These are kid. I'm literally 50 miles from a kid I used to babysit that was murdered. That's not my word. That's on the fucking radio. I just left Crestone, Colorado. I just left Colorado. We're in Crestone, Colorado. Crystal Rishinger was murdered. That's not my word. You can go to Dr. Phil. You can go to Fox News for Pueblo. That stuff is on there. I've lived in that town. I already have conversations that prove that I've lived in that town. It's a town of 150 people. If you want to say that I didn't know this person, then you're going to say that, like, how do you not know a town of 150 people? There's only like 3 shops. We work at Crestone Brewery Company. Like, people that are just obstacles. Like, and this to me is like, okay, this is like a knee jerk response at this point. But like in my mind, I'm like, oh, you're involved in human trafficking because no one is this dumb. Like, no one is so dumb that like they're just like, oh, like obstacle, obstacle, obstacle. Like, isn't this rough for you? Like, you're like, be a grown up yourself. Help with other people's shortcomings. That's society is constantly helping with other people's shortcomings. Like, you can't grow food. You can't. You're not a mechanic. People. That's the whole point of society is to assist in other people's shortcomings to make a cohesive unit. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I don't know. The
It's
species
just like I
kills.
think it's really important, like just for my own advice, I'm gonna give you a little bit of unsolicited advice right now, and like don't take it if you don't want to, but at this point for you, like the most important thing is for you to like take care of you. You know what I mean? If that means like getting your story out, get your story out. If that means backing off for a little while and just doing some like self-love work, do that. But like the absolute worst thing you can do is take to heart anything that these people are saying. A single thing. Don't even give it a time of day. Don't even give it a thought in your head because you know what you've been through. And you have
Oh
people
yeah,
who
no.
want to you. Just like don't even try to justify who the fuck these people are because they don't matter. They're not important.
Well, my one thought on like a more. I mean, I agree with what you're saying to a large extent. My one of my reservations is just like how in society we try and like we help each other's shortcomings to create a cohesive unit. When there's large aspects of the society that have that are clearly not on the same page as other people in society, whether if we want to disagree on like certain aspects or whatever, but like when it becomes such a detriment that things cannot progress, like the human species cannot progress because there are so many people within the species keeping like you can just say by nation if you want, like keeping people, their communities, like stuck on like a certain level of intelligence or something. Like people, like we cannot progress unless people, like unless we progress together. And then
Yeah.
like it's so weird. Like, people drop like, oh well, we do this as a society, but then we're not like I don't know. People are picking and choosy on like their morals and their logic and whatnot. I'm fairly amoral, but people are way like I think vast majority of people who think they're not amoral or who don't like cherry pick stuff. That's one of my biggest things about cherry picking. Like I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Um, but yeah, no, I do agree with you 100% too. Um, okay, so let's see. Sixth grade, we're pretty much done with sixth grade. Right towards the end of sixth grade is when I got put in social services. We were living with our mom, me and my brother, and then this guy came over. This large guy came over, who I 99.9% sure was Rob Campbell. Um, came over and um, offered my mom $600 and said, "Once you do this, there's no going back." And then, um, like a shortly after that, we moved to Westminster, and then like a month after that, me and my brother went to go stay with our dad. And then, like a couple weeks of staying with our dad, we got taken to social services. My brother, like I was living with my dad, me and my brother were. My brother went to go stay at Drew's house, this kid named Drew that we knew. And then my brother was at the police station, and then my dad had to pick me up, and we were living with my dad and my aunt. And I think in like Yeah, I want to say it was Westminster. Now I'm thinking Long Beach. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, we lived with my mom in Westminster, and then we went to live with our dad in Long Beach with our aunt Debbie, her two kids, and whatnot. My brother went to Drew's, and then my brother ended up at the police station, and then my dad went to go pick up my brother, and the police sent him back to go grab me because he had to take me also to the police station, and then the police officer put me and my brother in handcuffs, and then took us to Orangewood, and then Orangewood, me and my brother were split up like within like 3 days. He went to a cottage. It's like Orangewood has like 1,000 kids, and like it's like eight cottages or something like that. Like maybe not 1,000. So there's like maybe like 30 kids per cottage, and there's like 10 or so cottages, and they're split up immediately. I ever spent with my brother. Like I don't even like that's the last time I ever really spent with my brother. Everything else after that um was like pieces and much more like combative. I have to move my car again in a minute, I think. Um, and so let's see, Orangewood. One time at Orangewood, there was like a group home thing in the gymnasium where we were all watching Shrek. And then this big, heavy set guy with like long, gross looking hair and like a beard told me and this other kid to go into the back room. And we went into the back room because we had to like move stuff, but we weren't moving like anything. And the guy was just like groping me, like helping me move stuff, like helping me hold my body. And then there was that. The first day I
How
was in
old
group home,
was that an adult?
this was seventh grade. So how
No,
old was the adult?
it was an adult? I was just asking if it was another like person there, if it was an adult. Okay,
Yeah, he was an adult.
I got you.
My first day in my first day in Orangewood, the staff member took me into the bathroom, said that I had to like squat and like finger my butt. And then when I got out, I walked straight to this one kid. Because when we walked in, this one kid was playing Zelda Ocarina of Time, and I was like, and as soon as I walked out, I wanted to talk to the kid. And I walked straight up to the kid and I was like, we were playing games. I was like, did you have to do that too? And then the kid told a staff member. The staff member came up to me and then was like, who did that? And I pointed at the guy that did that. And then the one guy that was there, that I was like, like, that's who did it. The one guy was like, oh, he's just one of those kids, or he's just one of them. Um, and nothing happened. Nothing happened from that. Um, employment records exist. Yada yada. Um,
You don't know the names at all?
I don't know the names, but
That's
in
fine.
group home, it's very organized. Like where staff are working, um, employment records, all the stuff there. I can be like, this was the guy. The guy that was in the bathroom was really tall. He had like maybe like orangish, yellow, red hair, maybe very light brown. Not dark, nothing nearly as dark as my hair, and not and even lighter than your hair. Um, short hair. And then the other guy was large, like not very tall. I remember him being shorter. He was Caucasian also, maybe like Italianish. Very heavy set. He had gray in his like he didn't have like he looked like he had like maybe dark hair as dark as mine at one point in time. Um, but there was a lot of gray in it too, or like not say a lot, but it was just lighter and like had like gray hairs. Um,
Mhm.
and then me and my brother got moved to CRF group homes, and then that's where the Jimmy stuff happened and the Campbell stuff happened that I already mentioned. And then I got sent to go live with my Aunt Veronica, which I touched on a little bit. But then when I was with my Aunt Veronica, um, I was playing games in the back room and then walked out. When I walked out and used the restroom, she was on the phone talking to her sister, and she told her sister that I've been molesting her two daughters and two sons. Um, and then when I walked out, I was like crying and panicking, like, why would you say that? And she said that she just wanted to see how I would have reacted. Um, and what she was referring to, because she told my Uncle Kevin the same thing, um, I was watching. I woke up from my room, walked into the living room. My two little cousins come out, the two girls, and I had a baby blanket when I was growing up, and I didn't have it for a couple years, and then I got it when I moved back to this place. It just showed up. Like my aunt Veronica had it for some reason, and I had my baby blanket, and so I was sitting there in my baby blanket, and then my aunt Veronica came home, and she went because she's a nurse and she worked night shifts, and then she walked into the back in the back room, and then my uncle Kevin came out, and he told me he's like Veronica or whatever your aunt thinks that you're touching the kids. Do you mind just putting your blanket away? Um, I don't think you're doing anything wrong or whatever, but she's freaked out or whatever. Um,
I'm just
hmm,
making like a small timeline. I'm not putting in like complete details or anything. I'm just like getting an idea. That way I can like look back without
totally, and
watching.
just totally, and just connect again for other people. My aunt
Yeah.
Veronica is the same one that said that when she was raped, that she had to give away her kids and that it was okay because she just had to get with it. Um, her my uncle Kevin's was worked on um, military jets or whatever. He worked in the military as a mechanic. I believe on like planes. My aunt Veronica's sister, her husband is a sheriff. Her nephew or her son is now a sheriff. My aunt Veronica's kids are all military. Not to say that they're not to say that everyone in the military or whatever is bad, but there's just themes. There's just themes to follow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I ask a question? And you don't
Yeah,
have to answer that. No, I'm not gonna. Never mind. I might ask you this one personally. I'm gonna ask you personally. I don't want to do it on live.
I don't mind. I don't mind if it's live unless you feel like it might get us kicked off live. If you could phrase it in a way.
It's just too much. It's too much. I'm gonna ask you personally, and I don't want to. I don't want to. For both of us, you know what I mean? It's just like a very. It's like more of a personal like perspective type of thing, and I don't want to discredit what you have going on, um, based off your potential answer. You know what I mean? So I'll just wait. It's not a. It's a personal
I think
question.
it's a good thing. I really won't mind. I won't mind if you really don't want to say it. Like, don't make yourself uncomfortable. But I really
Well,
don't
all right,
mind.
here. So when kids, I've been in a lot of situations where I've had conversations about like like mental health facilities and things like that. So like a lot of kids have been like subjected to like either being coerced into doing things with other children the same age as them, or one of the kids has had things like sexually done to them and then they do it to other people. Um, I don't consider that like being the word. I don't know if it'll get us kicked off, but like I don't think one child doing something to another child of the same age is in the same category of like assault.
Also,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I don't think that's the
yeah.
same. But do you ever think that there was a point in time in your life where like you weren't sure about
Like,
boundaries or what was or wasn't okay?
I mean, there was times where I was being like when I was younger playing Avengers by that 13-year-old kid when I was like 6 or 7. Like I didn't know
Right.
about boundaries then, but I never was like I never sexually assaulted anyone. Um, and the one thing that comes to mind when you say that is when I was in CRF, when Luther was playing with me, um, like at one point in time, like he was sexually assaulting me, and then also he was like you're not allowed to touch kids in phones, and he was like picking me up and like rubbing me all the time, saying like, "Oh, you like the big guys, don't you?" And then finally, Lakita walked in and was like, "You better put that boy down. He's going to like press charges on you. You can't be touching kids like that." And because he's going to press charges on you. After what happened to Ray and everything, he literally just dropped me on the ground. I hurt my back. I ran into my room because I realized what was happening. Like I realized like Lakita knew what was happening and everyone knew what was happening. realize what was happening, and then he followed me to my room, and he was like, "If you say anything," this is the first time I heard the statistic, and I think no one should ever say this statistic. I don't believe there's no truth to it. There's zero truth to it. He said 60% of everyone that gets sexually assaulted become, or like, this is I'm paraphrasing what he said, but 60% of every child that molests someone will be, or every
Become.
child that gets will become a a predator themselves. Will molest people themselves. So because that's 60%, that I'm definitely going to become, because that's more than half. That I'm more than that I definitely, like, I would become a predator too. And so if basically if I said anything, that I would get have to be thrown in like jail or prison.
You want to know something? I read a book a couple years ago, and they were talking about that type of statistic. Like when it was the book was based on like men who are abusers, like physically or violent towards their relationships. But they say that that statistic is is technically, like, according to word of mouth, true because that's what people say. But when people get caught, when men or women or whoever get caught doing something like that in order to gain sympathy, they say that they were touched themselves, and it's generally not true. The statistic behind that, like the true is estimated to be a way lower because people who have that happen to them don't want to do that to other people, but people who do that want to gain sympathy from those who are looking at them. So they say, "Oh, it happened to me too. I don't know any better." But that is a completely bullshit statistic, and it is because of the abuser trying to gain sympathy from those who they're talking to.
Yeah, I think it's just an easy way to keep a kid quiet. That's like, um, I don't remember being quiet from that. I remember still speaking out because, like, so let's see, I'm skipping ahead. I skipped ahead with the Luther thing. So I was in group homes twice. The Luther thing was the second time I was in group homes. Um, so Aunt Veronica's, those kids, and then my Uncle Kevin took me back to group homes, saying that we were going to go to Disneyland. And then I was like, on the way there, I was like, all my stuff is packed up. I'm going back into group homes, aren't I? And he was like, was talking to me. Yeah. And then, and yeah, let's see. I remember shortly after getting back at CRF, uh, I got released back to my mom, and I was in, not in concentration a little bit. I got sent back to my mom. We lived in Tustin. This is the time where I realized something really weird was going on with my shots. I kind of mentioned it, about my, like, I went into the the nurse said that I couldn't be at school, um, with, um, come on, Kevin, think. The nurse said I couldn't be at school without vaccination records, and I was like, my mom's been doing this for years. We've been doing this for years. Schools can't keep track of the vaccination records. It's not my mom's fault. It's not my fault. They said, no, your mom keeps tracks of all the records themselves. And like, she made a point of that. I already touched on that a little while ago. So that was the first time I was kind of like, made me think that my mom was withholding records from them. This is the same place where, in Tustin, where my mom had a rotary phone, and like, when this place that we moved into was like kind of older. We had this neighbor kid that, like, this is where I got into Yu-Gi-Oh and Legos. I was already into the Legos, but this really had Yu-Gi-Oh, and my mom said that someone had to come over to fix the rotary phone, and this big black guy came over and was like fixing the rotary, like took the rotary phone, and then when he left, I mentioned to my mom that she should date him or something like that because, like, it seemed like they liked each other or something. I don't know. It's just something, you guys should date each other. And then my mom said, after all that work, you're still not racist. And then I kind of was like really weirded out by that. Um, I remember later that night, uh, my mom putting something in the oven, and it smelled really, really weird. And my mom took it out and put it on the kitchen, the coffee table. and when it was, and she said I had to eat it, and I took 2 bites. And then in my 20s, and it tasted like I've eaten pork, I've eaten all types of meat and fish. It never tasted, looked, smelt anything like I've ever eaten or seen ever. And then in my 20s, they said that they fed me human when I was in the back of a law enforcement car. Um, and the neighbor woman, she came over really pissed, asking where I was and why does it smell like that in there. And then she disappeared, and her kid disappeared shortly after that. Whether they moved or arrested or whatever happened, I don't know. Um, when they told me that when I was in my 20s, I was in the back of a law enforcement officer car with a woman this time, and we were driving, and I was in the back. And there was like, tell us the stuff that you remember, just so we, because this is already like years and after that already came out that they were investigating the case to cover their own ass. They're like, just tell us everything you know so we can be safe. We'll stop messing with you. And I was like, well, here's a memory. And I mentioned what I just mentioned to you. I was like, oh, I remember this, and this was odd. And the police officer was like, what color was the meat? And I looked at my arm, and I just started screaming. And then, like, Rob and everyone on the speaker just started laughing, except for this kid named Michael, who was very, very important. Michael said that he felt like he was sitting at the table of the devil. This kid that I knew back in Huntington Beach that was like 3 or 4 years younger than me. Michael's dad um, supposedly committed suicide, and his sister, Michael's sister, and the dad's daughter, when I was like 14. This is right after I got out of social service the first time, and so after Tustin, um, we moved to Huntington Beach, and this happened at a motel room where my mom tried to frame these paintballers, saying that she wanted them to watch me in the motel room while she went downtown to like eat. And the police came to arrest him because my mom said that he kidnapped me. And then the police tried to arrest him, and then all the guy's teammates started fighting the police because everyone knew it was bullshit. And then they left the paintballers, and then um, the police were like to my mom, they're like, next time this happens, you got to make sure it's with less people. And then we moved to Uh, I was going to connect to something I totally spaced. So we moved to Beach in Yorktown in the motel room, and I was going to connect something, and I jumped around too much. Um,
You're talking about not racist. They made you eat that. Michael from Huntington
so
Beach.
Yeah.
Michael.
So I lived on Beach in Yorktown, and Michael. Okay, so Beach in Yorktown, near Beach in Yorktown, Christos P. Mitchell, Caitlin Gillette, this big, large 24-year-old dude named Andrew, who Jessica Mitchell, who's now known as Jessica Inslee, and Scott Millian, who is also in law enforcement. Jessica Inslee is a police officer now. They set me up when I was 15 to get molested by Andrew. Andrew molested me. He was the first person to actually kiss me that I know of. Um, and let's see, yada yada. They sent Michael over to buy Final Fantasy VII from me, and then I went over to his house like a week later because me and his sisters were because his sister was my age, and then like Michael came outside and was like, "Hey, my sister or whatever wants to hang out with you," and then we walked in, and all the house all the lights in the house were off. The light in the kitchen was on, and then the light in the back bedroom with his sister's bedroom was on. And he sat on the table, or like he sat on the chair next to the table, and was like trying to like be sexy as like a like like trying to like I don't know like move like just he was told he was obviously like this is not say obviously this is going to be explained. He's told to like move his body in a way to be like provocative or whatever. And like I grabbed the chair and I moved it like 5 feet away. And I was like sat down and I was like I don't know what's going on, but like I hope you get help or something like that. And this is like this is around the time where I really started noticing shit was just like persistently weird and something odd was happening. And as soon as I said that, I saw. Oh no no no! Right as he said something to me, like he said something specific to me, and I forget what he said, but it was very sexual. And um, I saw, and I think heard something. I know I definitely saw like a shadow move in the back in his sister's room, and I was like, oh. And then I responded with, "I hope you get the help you need" to Michael. And then as soon as I said that, his sister ran out, and was like, "I'm sorry, Kevin, blah 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 blah. Like, we don't know what's going on. Like, the police are blah blah blah. We don't know why Michael even went over to your house. We own a PlayStation, PlayStation, which is that's how you play Final Fantasy VII. Like, we don't even know why he went over to your house to ask for that." And then, like a week later, Kim or Brian, because they're twins, I don't know which one. Kim or Brian came over with Michael and Michael's dad, and then through the conversation, Michael said that Scott Million and Jessica ones that set him up the first set Michael up to come to my house the first time, and then that Michael's dad, because he was there, he said that that he tried to set it up that Michael got sexually assaulted. I got sexually assaulted, but to see if something would happen, see if I would do something with Michael at his house, and then he was apparently the dad was there too, with the sister. Um, Tim or Brian put his head down and was like, Scott Milling. He's like, Scott's your detective or whatever. Like, he kind of put there, like, Scott's your detective. And then he's like, and then he started to arrest the dad. And I was like, whoa, whoa, what are you doing? And he's like, we're arresting for trying to do what he did to me and his kid. And I was like, oh, he's just concerned. He's a concerned father. Like, he's just trying to figure out the truth. Like, let's not, like, don't do anything, whatever. And I found out later, because in my 20s, they brought Michael and his dad in, trying to frame me again, because in Michael and his dad's position, because of what law enforcement was telling him, is that I'm a bad person. Through this, through following me around for years, being still molested for years by a person, this is like the conclusion for Michael's dad, who was Edminger Mount Shasta, this like 80-year-old guy, uh, as one person that I was sold to. Um, Mount Shasta, 80-year-old dude. Uh, Michael, because like they allowed us to talk occasionally after this point. Michael was crying because they said that his dad committed suicide because his dad thought that he ruined Michael's life because he was like agreeing to like sit in on these cable conversations that were being recorded or whatever that were being captured by audio or whatever and speaker over in Huntington Beach when I was around the United States, like hitchhiking around, getting picked up by law enforcement, being put in the back of the car. So Michael was told that his dad committed suicide, and then Michael was telling me that he doesn't know which is worse, whether if his dad is still alive, and if his dad thinks that Michael committed suicide, or if his dad actually committed suicide. And then he told me that he didn't say like, oh, I feel really bad. I'm paraphrasing. But he said I feel really bad. I'm paraphrasing that they killed their sister because they sent their sister to a mental hospital because the police were saying that Michael's sister, was part of a sex trafficking ring that I was a leader of. I was like 14, 15, 16, and that they threw her into a mental hospital. And she fucking lost her shit, and then she committed suicide. Like, I know exactly what apartment they live into. I like this shit can be looked up.
So, so they told Michael that his dad committed suicide. And then Michael thought that if his dad was not dead, that that they would have told his dad that Michael committed suicide. And then the sister, what about the
This was
sister again?
before Michael. This was like right after that event happened in Huntington Beach when I was like 15 and Michael was like 12 or something or 13. Um,
Okay.
like right after that event where the police came over, like I guess like
Yeah.
sometime after is when they put Michael's sister into a mental hospital. Michael and Michael's dad, and that what all he remembers is her like crying for them to believe her because the police were telling Michael and her dad that she was part of a sex trafficking ring that I was a leader of.
Gotcha.
And
Okay,
that
okay.
same why Barrett from CRF, the second time I went into social services, was told. And then shortly after that, Barrett got fired, and then I ran away from group homes. And then I saw Barrett after Monique was telling me to go to the Orange Mall, the staff members. And then I ran into Barrett there, and then we were talking. Barrett's like, "Is this a TR?" This is after he got fired because this one kid named Adolfo Gonzalez ended up sneaking into the girls' hallway, which Adolfo Gonzalez is a police officer now. Uh, oh,
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And is this one of the first times you've been able to like share of all of it at once?
I mean, a little bit. Like I get off on like as I'm telling my story, like my energy and like my memory and everything, it's all fluctuating. Like sometimes I get caught up like emotionally. It's hard for me to explain things, and sometimes I get awkward. Like there's a few moments ago where you said something about something, and I got like anxious because it's something that's been portrayed. It's something that's been like, oh, I'm a this type of person. I'm just fucking not. Like I like this. Like if the statue of David came to life, that's my if you with the statue of David. But and then there's like so I right now like I'm so energized and like able to speak about it so easily because it's just I don't know it just comes in waves. Like sometimes I'm able to be like, and this happened, like super quick, super easily, like super detailed. And at other times I'm like, and this happened, and this happened, and then we did this.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there was this, uh, and so
I
yeah,
think so just for my own like to relate to you, I feel like I can relate to like the so much information and it's a blah, like just trying to get it all out. And like I'm happy that you're doing it. I really am. I maybe in the future maybe we'll try to like if you want to, totally if you want to, maybe we'll try to like break it down into like a more linear timeline. Maybe. I don't know, it's completely up to you. But
that's what I was trying here. I was trying to do this like all linear or
it's,
whatever, like
it's okay.
and
It's so
like
much
I think
information. It's hard.
what was that?
I said it's so much information and it's hard, especially when it's emotional. It's like pent up and like like I get it totally. I just
Oh yeah,
in order to
yeah.
put it all in like the best understandable way, like maybe we'll like take it outside of a live some other time and like try to now that I have all this, you know what I mean? Just to I'm not saying you're not doing anything wrong at all. I completely understand. I know that I've been like, there's so much information to like try to get out all at once that like I just want to make sure it's I don't want to be disrespectful, but I want it to be as like easily understood as possible. You know what I mean? Because I haven't watched all
Yeah,
your videos, so like I know a lot of people probably haven't either.
no, yeah, no, that's yeah, no, totally. It's uh yeah,
Don't
it
worry
is
about
it's
it.
just
Don't stress over
it
it at all. Like I got time, but
thank you. No, it's a lot. Even like telling the story, like as I'm telling the story, I'm like, oh, I forgot to mention that, and that. It's something like too big. There's a couple of like big things. Nothing like too huge, but things that are fairly big. But it's so freaking much. And again, it's like I'm not.
yeah,
And people are like I'm not unique. My family's not unique. This happens to a lot of people. Like you don't know you're being worked on, which is a term for it. Like you're a project, you're a product, and uh, we're working on you. Um, like like it's not all at once. You don't do everything. It's the whole point is to get away with it.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But it's gonna, and it is.
Uh,
It's gonna take some time. I've been in. I'm gonna use. I'm gonna open up a little bit for a second. I've been in some. I've been involved in some like legal situations where like everything that was going on was just so wrong, not correct. I was being like things were being said about me that weren't true, and it was like highly, highly emotional. So like I would get my chance to talk, and I was just like, like, try to get all of it out all at one time. And in that circumstance, it didn't work out well for me just because like I was not doing well at maintaining myself in a way that in the moment when it was important, I couldn't get it all together in a functional. And I'm not saying that you're not. I'm saying that like as far as like moving forward and I would love to help you as far as I can. And even if you don't want me to, then I won't. But like putting this together. Like I want to hear all of it. I'm totally down for it. You're not bothering me. I'm completely. But like to make this a tighter story so that all of it is very easily understood because people are going to try to misunderstand anywhere they can. So if there's any type of bouncing around, it's like oh, it doesn't make sense, So like yeah, continue say whatever. Absolutely talk. Don't feel self conscious at all because I'm not judging you whatsoever. I just Um, I want it to be as easy to understand as possible. Like we can
Thank
do this
you.
as many times as we have to get there. Like I don't care. I'm cool. You know.
I appreciate that. I'm even thinking like I'm gonna try it. Like if you're up, for, I mean, like gosh, I don't. I'm cautious. Are you? One thing I want to say is not. I'm not 100% on this right now, but potentially, would you want to continue on with the rest of my story from? I mean, we can finish up till like 18 right now, uh, and then tomorrow, if you're up for it, go from 18 and for the rest of everything else. Um,
Tomorrow
is that
is
something?
Tuesday. I could. I mean, later on in the afternoon. Like I think I'm 2 hours ahead of you, so at around 6 p.m. my time, 4 p.m. your time, I'd be available.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just like I'm gauging some things in my head, like energy, because eventually, like I literally, like I've done this story like 1,000 times. Like I one thing I remembered is like when I got assaulted in Orangewood, I got taken to the office, and this woman came out so I could tell my story. I said like 3 words, she slapped me in the face, and she's like, "You're not supposed to be telling anyone this." And that's just a
Fuck
way
that.
people, it's a way to make it be. It's a way as a kid, so you have children be so you have children. You want children to perceive everyone in authority as a danger to you, so you don't go to anyone in authority, so nothing gets uncovered. Uh, that's what that's.
I
They have
understand.
this is gatekeepers. I freaking despise gatekeepers, even like because they're either manipulated to do bad things or they're actively, purposely doing bad things. Those are like one things, and people who control. This is why I don't trust like ah, I say I have like trust issues or reservations with with
Naturally, of course you do. You should.
groups and organizations and people within groups and organizations that have like too much power or there's not enough oversight. But yeah, so where I'm at, let's see, I mentioned sixth grade, I mentioned seventh grade, I mentioned let's see, Schaefer's Circle. I'm sorry, not Schaefer's Circle. Let's see, Beach in Yorktown, Michael, his dad came over to my house, him and his dad. The police came over with the one guy came over, tried to arrest Michael's dad. Um, that got police officer that came over. That was Tim O'Brien. Um, let's see.
We're talking. The last thing I wrote down was that Michael's dad might have killed himself,
Yeah,
or sister
yeah,
might have
that
said that
yeah, not
you.
the sister. The sister didn't say I was a part of anything. The sister was Michael's family was told that Michael's dad and Michael was told that Michael's sister and Michael's dad's daughter that was she was like 15 or something 16. I was in between 14 and 16. I was in between 14 and 16. um, and she was told or sorry, Michael and Michael's dad was told that their sister and daughter or whatever, you know what I mean, was part of a sex trafficking ring that I was a leader of when I was,
Yeah,
in a mental institution, maybe this in his 20s. Years later, that he doesn't like this is like years of them torturing him too. Um, that he's like dying inside because he doesn't know where his dad is. He doesn't know if his dad's alive or dead. He does he's not allowed to know if there's a grave. Um, and that his sister like what he's like he killed his sister is what he feels like because he thought his sister they just threw her in an institution. This can be looked up. Like, sorry, we'd be like, ugh, but like, not to you or anything. I'm not doing that to you, but like, just like my reaction to that is like when people say like, well, why don't you just burr or like,
it's not that
like,
easy.
yeah,
This
it's
is a
not that easy.
lifetime of you trying to like right now, and this is
Yeah,
a lifetime. You
yeah,
can't.
yeah. I've been coming forward with this stuff for years, and it's so much. Yeah, it's so much. So Michael, let's see, I'm back in group homes, Orangewood. Moved to CRF, moved back out back with my mom. Okay, so it's like seventh grade, eighth grade. This is also like so Scott Million, Jessica Mitchell. They are also the first people to smoke out with marijuana, and we went to Jessica Mitchell's house, and I remember exactly what her house looks like too. I remember what all these houses look like that I mentioned. I remember what the insides look like, especially as an adult. All these places that I went to, I remember what all these places looked like. Um, so um, Jessica Mitchell and Scott Millian were the first people to smoke mouth marijuana. This is before the whole Michael thing happened. I was walking home from high school. They said, "Oh, aren't you Chris Mosley's brother?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, we're his friends from like back in the day, whatever." And then we started talking, and then we went to Jessica Mitchell's house, and then they smoked me out with marijuana. Let's see what Holland says. We limited the ability for others to find Raid X Live's video because we received a content warning. Yes, we received a content warning.
It just told me that we may be doing something that could I think they think you're driving. I think that's what the yeah
I'm not.
something. I think because it said what's going on along the lines. I just ignored it, but it said may cause injury, so I think that that's what it was.
Um, Gosh, I don't want to lose this live. So yeah, I'm gonna try to wrap this up quick because the last time I did a live like this, it got I wasn't able to download it because it got taken out. So let's
I have
end
been
right.
screen recording the whole time too.
What was that? You've been
I've been
recording?
screen recording. I don't think it's recording what I'm saying, but it's recording everything you're saying. So just
Okay,
in
cool.
case.
So yeah, let's try. Let's see. So yeah, they took me to Jessica Mitchell's house, or Jessica Mitchell and Scott Million, and they smoked me out before they smoked me. Like, this first time I ever smoked pot, and they said that you don't feel anything the first time you smoke pot. I was told, like, because I've told this to many people, that I used to hitchhike with and travel with. Uh, they told me that it sounded like heroin and that you do feel marijuana the first time you smoke. And I will say right now, like, I've never had a drug problem. Like, I've never gone, like, I smoke pot. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't do caffeine. I don't do alcohol. Well, I drink alcohol like the last time I drank alcohol was like probably like 5 years ago, and I had a glass of, and then like it was probably drank for like a couple months period, and then the time before that, like 4 or 5 years before that, and like 4 or 5 years before that with like a little bit of alcohol here and there. But I don't do like I smoke pot. Well, like, that's all I do. I've never tried. I've never gone out to do other drugs. Um, yeah. Um,
I've
in my
heard a lot
20s,
of people say, go ahead and you finish. Sorry.
I was just in my 20s. I'm gonna in my 20s. I'm gonna mention, like being in the back of police cars or whatever. There's a few things that they told me if I would say that they would stop, and they've told me to say like things about like certain things like drugs and other like minorish crimes. But then they told me to say things like I've said to yourself like we can't get you on anything. Like they try to set me up for stuff like all the time, and they say we can't get you on anything. Just tell us that you f kids thing, and we'll leave you alone. I was like, I'm never ever gonna say something like that. Um,
Yeah, that's all just part of like discrediting
yeah,
you. And
yeah, no, it's just a way for them to like have me in their back pocket kind of thing, um, or like for me to be like, to me so they can discredit me. So yeah, so Michael, yada yada, beach in Yorktown. We moved from Beach in Yorktown to Burgers and Adams. We moved in with a guy that was divorced. This guy got arrested because my mom had a seizure, and then the police were there and then told the guy to apologize to me. The guy said, "I'm sorry that your mom had a seizure," and then they arrested him. And then shortly after that, uh, I got taken from. Like my mom went on vacation. My mom beach in Newtown. My mom went on to Florida twice on vacation. That's where I got molested by the first time by Andrew. He came over to my house. It wasn't the first time he molested me, but he came over to my hotel room. And in his hotel room back at Beach in Yorktown, I was made the entire time there to made a dog like a uh, dog bed. My mom had a bed. I had a dog bed, and my mom tried to say because the Leslie, the manager, tried to get us into a regular room with two beds and two separate rooms, so we didn't have to sleep in the same room together. And my mom said that they didn't like us anymore. We had to sleep in the same room. same room or whatever. They wouldn't switch. So it's not her fault; it's their fault, kind of thing. And that I had to sleep on a dog bed because there wasn't enough room for two beds. Even though when we first moved into that room, there was two beds. Um, my mom framed this older man that lived in Beach in Yorktown in the same hotel room that used to be ex-military that gave me a computer. My mom said that, at least my mom told me this later, that she said that that he got arrested was that she told people that he was showing me stuff on a computer that's inappropriate. So then, yeah, so Beach in Yorktown, we moved there. The thing with my mom's neighbor happened, or our roommate happened, uh,
Give me
and
like an approximate age of yourself now. 'Cause,
so
Scott and Jessica, when was the first time you smoked weed? Like how old you were?
So yeah, everything at Beach in Yorktown was freshman year.
Okay.
Brookhurst and Adams was freshman sophomore. Um, and then so sophomore year. Um, okay, so right before the guy got arrested, before my neighbor or my roommate got arrested, I'm putting this because it's like sun. I gotta move my car. Um, so before he got arrested, he came up to me and he was like arguing with my mom, and he came up to me and said he went through my mom's computer. He's like turning into a very druggy freak. Um, and then like a week after that, my mom had a seizure with the police. He got arrested. And that was in Brookhurst and Adams. So the same Brookhurst and Adams where Emily Stanton lived, where Emily Stanton was being molested by an older man that was like 24. She was like 12. We also knew someone named Lacey Hayes that was supposedly law enforcement. Lacey Hayes was
Lacey,
having her brother's Lacey Hayes,
Lacey Hayes.
Laceyhs. Yeah, Lacey Hayes, and then she was having her little brother molested. Jet. She even like I was babysitting once, and then like she told me to take him over to Tiffany Arbeck's house, and that she would meet me there. And we like whatever, like hang out, whatever. And then she went over there. She picked, and then she asked if Tiffany's mom could drive us back home. And then it's like the last couple minutes we were there, she started like getting all panicky, and then she runs out, like crying, like fake crying, with Jet, and like slams him on the cement first, and then so like Jet, I'm 100% sure like they don't cause head damage to kids unless they done something. And then the officer came up to me and was like, "What did you like, Tim? Or it was Tim or Brian,
Right.
twin brothers, like before. They came up to me, or one of them came up to me and was like he's trying to ask me what happened, and I'm like really freaking freaked out at this point because everything with Michael, everything that's been happening with my mom going to Florida, everything that's been happening with like just my life has been going really epic at this point. And I didn't say, and I just like he was like trying to talk to me, and I just turned around, and he was just like holding my head, and I think I just walked away or something. I didn't say anything. I just didn't know. I was just like in shock. I was in complete shock at this point.
Was the
Um,
kid like really hurt? What was the condition like from being
Crying.
slammed?
That's the last time I saw him. He was crying. Um, Supposedly he's okay. I don't know if he's yeah, I have no idea. No idea. Like they told me that Lacey told me that they moved to England, and then they moved to Connecticut. And then I remember before they moved, Lacey talking to the police saying this wasn't supposed to happen like this or something like that. Like her, like when like they told her that she had to move or something like that. I'm paraphrasing like a bunch of memories right now. I'm trying to get through this conversation so really quick.
Just don't. It's okay.
Uh,
We can take a break at any time. We can pick this back up at any time. It doesn't have to be cut into segments. It doesn't have to be. We can talk privately too, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be all at once.
Thank you. So
No
like
worries.
let me think. Um, so let's see. Brookhurst and Adams. No people is Sam and Allison. They didn't do anything wrong, but they were able to put things into context. Like, oh, this insignificant thing was true, which is significant to this other thing that's important. So Allison and Sam Brookhurst and Adams. I had someone message me saying that they're friends with Allison and Sam um, on TikTok, so they're still around. Um, Lacey Hayes, who's old was enforcement. Emily Stanton, Chad Tierney. I believe Chad Tierney's family was law enforcement. Um, I'm not sure about that. Chad Tierney is also super, super racist. Um,
Who was Chad?
Chad Tierney,
Right.
Emily's now wife, husband, Emily's now husband, um, is like super, super racist. I remember my friend Maria Gonzalez that I've known since like second grade told me that he was like a felon who was like, super racist. And I was like, oh, I'm just trying to like be everyone's friend. No one's. I didn't think racism was like a real thing. Like I was like, no one's racist. Like everyone knows like how the Holocaust happened. Like I always had this like thing like everyone's inherently good. Like that's just like my core. Like I'm naive to a fault. Um,
No, I get that.
so
I get that.
let's see, Neil something, Neil something. There's a few other people that I can name. There's Jessica and Sarah Grinder, who had a little sister who supposedly they were doing the same thing too, as well. Sarah and Jessica Grinder that on for Christian Adams. Supposedly their sister, who I only knew as Pookie, which is I don't think this is true, but that supposedly that's slang for heroin. But they gave her a nickname like that because it's just just a way to fuck with people. I don't know if she was. I don't know if Pookie was actually a victim, but he did cry to me once saying that her family was drugging her, and this is before that that I was being drugged and whatever the stuff. I didn't really believe her, um, and she was crying to me at the Brooker's. She was sitting on the bench, like there's like two sections to the what's called the Continentals.
Say
There's
that again. 2 seconds or what?
the Continentals on Brookhurst and Adams. Um, and then so like Brookhurst, Adams, and then Burchard. And so on the Burchard side of Burchard Adams is where I lived, and Brookhurst and Adams side is where Lacey and Emily. And then I lived on the same side as Sarah and Jessica Grinder. And then on that side, Sarah Pookie was sitting outside of like in the park, which is somewhat outside her house, which was somewhat outside, which was like a little bit further outside my house. And she wanted to talk to me, and we spoke. And she was crying to me, saying that her family was drugging her, et cetera, et cetera. And I didn't really believe her, and I just said like, when you turn 18, you just gotta like get away from your family because my family's like just. I thought my mom was like just handicapped. Like I didn't realize how dubious it was until I was in my 20s. Like really fully everything.
Yeah.
There's different levels of so many different things I realized. I came in full realization when I was like 22. That's when I like no like like everything 99.999% of everything is clear. Um, about everyone's involvements and everyone that being negatively affected, yada yada. And so yeah, she did that to me, and then when my mom went to um, on vacation after right after our roommate got arrested. My mom told me to go to the park and hang out with my friends, Emily and someone else, and I went with Emily and someone else, and I can't remember who the other person was right now. And we were hanging out, and the cops came and they arrested me, and they told everyone else to go home, and then they took me to my house, and everything in the house was gone, everything. And the guy was like, "Oh, you must be living here by yourself. Whatever, I got to take you back to the neighborhood." And so that's how I got back to social services the second time. Um, I got sent to social services. The second time, I started crying. So I was like, you know what it's like, yada yada.
Were
And
you
then,
still? This was still like freshman, sophomore year.
yeah, this is freshman sophomore year, and yeah, and so I went back to social services, and then actually, there's so much to say right here, like after this, and like my attention span's kind of like dwindling.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's.
leave it 16 going into social services, and we can still talk for a little bit, but as far as my story goes, I'm just getting because there's some stuff I already touched on, and there's like I'm just noticing like my ability to explain things is kind of like
Yeah.
not saying my ability.
Don't rush. I literally know exactly how you feel right now. I've been there, like trying to get my story out. Like I get it. There's plenty of
Yeah.
time. Like we can do this as many times as we have to. Like I don't want you to feel like rushed or stressed or anxious. I don't want you to walk away from this in a worse position emotionally than you were when you came into it. So like we'll call it a day at any time. We can just chat. You know what I mean? Like you can what do you want to reflect or whatever. Like you know what I mean? I don't want you to not be okay leaving this conversation. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. One thing I want to say because I feel goofy, like I just switched my glasses out, and I'm wondering, and in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, people are like wondering like why I did that. And I just want to say that like since my face got tattooed black, those glasses have been like a safety blanket for me for some reason. Like it's a comfort thing. And then I just like I don't know, the slightest thing makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. And that's why I switched glasses in case people are wondering.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Fuck them. Fuck
Oh,
them.
yeah. I mean,
I mean,
not
I get it.
yeah.
I understand, but like, don't fuck them.
Well, like one of my biggest things is not only for me to be understood, but for everyone to understand. Like, I mean, I think understanding knowledge and truth, whatever. Not my truth. I hate when people say your truth. I'm not sure, like, if you said that before, but like, I know people
That's
say that sometimes. And like, truth isn't subjective, whatever, it's objective. But like, truth, knowledge, being understood is like fundamental to me to like the species. And this is like, um, I relate to people. I try to have people to understand, not for me, but for like not for me exclusively, but for me, for them, for the psychology of like understanding humans as like as a species, like how we understand how tigers work, how we understand how specific birds of prey work, like in
human nature.
nature. Like yeah, I feel like to understand the human species is through conversation and explanation, and that's why I do it. But yeah. Um,
Is there
is there
anything that
anything?
you feel like?
I was
No,
gonna say, is there any questions that you have about anything?
I did want to ask you, like, what role does your dad play, like, in your daily? Does he, he popped in a little bit throughout your story, but
He was
what?
a victim too. He was a victim too. Like there's times I remember. This is one thing I skipped over because it's just one of the times we visited him. The police came over, and then he said something like, "He's not what you think he is, or what his mom says he is. I don't want to do this." And then he shaved my head. And this is like one thing to make to like, he's supposed to be like racist too. Like there's when I was 16, back before places before I got back into social services. I was with a bunch of people, and the police came over and arrested me, and then drew a swastika on my head, and then took a picture of me. Um, and so that was like one of the perceptions which they constantly try to push out is that like I'm racist, etc. On my dad's side, uh, he's Mexican. My great grandma mama is from Mexico, and I'm like I don't say like I'm the least racist person spiel, but like I feel like I'm one of the least racist people. I got a dog named Dojo, a dog named Karma. I read Khalil Gibran, who's a Muslim prophet. Um, I love all like seriously like 99% of like I love the vast majority of every culture. There's definitely I guarantee you things that I could say I don't like about every culture, but like
All right, yeah.
uh, that as far as my dad goes, like he was just manipulated and do things and just he was the same, but like he wasn't in control of anything. He wasn't the boss of everything of anything. He was just another victim, another 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 means to an end, really. Um, he was probably like the reason why he's less involved is just because we were living mostly with our mom, and probably because my dad's side of the family was more well connect, like more organized, like like more socially acceptable, and so like it would look worse, or it'd be something that would be more odd with a functioning family, because the vast uh, than a me and my brother in a single mom broken home, which was the original goals, like broken home, group homes, troubled kid, drugs, racism.
I think like let's I kind of want to just like I don't know necessarily going to get off live, but I don't want to push you anymore with this. You know what I mean? Like let's just talk about you know what I mean? Like let's decompress a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
So
this was a lot. You shared a lot, and like I mean like I know you. I don't know you, and you're talking about like people not being proud of you, so I don't want to say that in a way that makes you feel like I'm being like patronizing or anything, but like honestly, for you to have like shared the amount that you have already is it's a lot. Like I can feel I don't know, everybody says they're an empath, but like I can like feel what you're like the tension in you right now, and I don't want you to like end this like that. So this is bullshit about whatever, you know, we can still talk about it, but I don't want you to unless you want to, unless there's something that you feel is like imperative to include, but like you know what I mean? We can
yeah,
just talk about
I
feelings or
mean,
something. How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
um, I feel okay. I appreciate what you said about like saying like you're proud or whatever because I totally get that when people like say something to me. I kind of like I especially when people say like I love you or like I'm your friend or something like that. I'm always like you don't know what that means kind of thing. But as far as like just chatting or whatever, like I don't know. I feel like okay. I'm as okay as my situation allows me to feel at this point. Um, I don't know. Like, there's just like, there's a lot to reflect on with something like this. Um, yeah, I don't know.
What
Like the pressure is
I
on. That's all I can say. Is the pressure is on.
it doesn't have to be any. It doesn't have to move quickly. It doesn't have to be. But like it, like when, like I said before, like I can react. I can relate, like in my own way, to like that feeling like there's so much to be said and like trying to like push it all out all at once, and then it doesn't come out the way that you want it to. Because there is so much. Like you personally have to be able to probably go through this story a few times just so that you can get the basics out without feeling, oh yeah, here's this and oh there's that too and this, you know what I mean? And like you're valid. Talk about all of it. Absolutely. Like I want you to. But it's like untangling a big giant knot, you know, like a huge piece of like
Totally.
thread or something, you know, you just have to kind of untangle that and like that'll happen slowly. And I'm here for you whenever. Like I truly am. Like I really am. I'm not just saying that just to be pushy. Like I can empathize with you on a very serious level. So like I want to help you untangle this knot so that we can get to a point where you can tell your story without getting anxious. If that makes
No, yeah,
sense.
thank you. I appreciate that. I totally understand what you're saying. I will say I don't like as far as anxiousness goes. I don't know if there's going to be a point in where I'm not going to be anxious telling the story. I mean, maybe eventually, because like I used to be able to tell the story with ease when I was younger. It's only up until like 2015 is when I started becoming like more like anxious and stuff. Before that, it was just like I don't know. It's just easy to kind of like just talk about like almost any regular thing.
You're disassociated from it. Like hadn't completely sunk in, you know. Hey, what do you feel? I don't know. We don't have to. We can stay live here if you want to, but do you want to like have a private conversation?
Sure. No, if you wanna have a private conversation, do you mind? You're 2 hours ahead of me, right?
It is almost 8 o'clock here.
Okay. Is it okay if um, I guess because like I need like to unwind a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
what is the latest I can call you?
Maybe like 11, 11 here, 10, 9 there.
Okay, sure. That
Yeah, I
works.
figured out
In between,
stuff.
I'll call in between 8 and 9 because that's when it's dark here. Yeah. In case people are wondering, this is rosemary and lavender. In case you don't think I'm just like putting plants in my face. Um, there's a
They're
rosemary and
calling.
and a lavender bush.
Is
I know.
that
So yeah.
you?
It just
Yeah,
smells good. I used to when I used to travel around, I used to have this like leather pouch, and then like find like plants that smelt good, like I don't know, like yeah, rosemary, lavender, kind of stuff. I put like hops in there, and just kind of like just I don't know. It's like smelling it. I don't know. It's like TV
that's
for
like
your
a
nose.
grounding, it's a grounding technique to like
It could
bring
yeah.
yourself back.
I totally no. 100%. Well, yeah. I think I started it not doing it as a grounding technique, but I think like now like subconsciously I do it as a grounding technique.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so sorry to go off on just like yeah, I'm just getting
No,
more like
do
tangenty.
not, do not
Um
apologize to me at all. Please don't. You didn't do anything wrong. If in between though, like I'll get off with you here. You go do what you gotta do. But if you need something, I want you to call me. Like if you start getting wound up in your head, I want you to call me like right away. It's
Thank
it's
you.
just
No,
a lot.
most definitely. Yeah, I will I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate that a lot. I will yeah, if I feel if I need to call, I will call. If I need a message, I'll message. And then tonight we'll like just chat for a little bit at least just to kind of recap over or not recap, but like talk about what we talked about.
Yeah,
um
definitely. This can take as many
awesome.
days or however long as it needs to. I just want you to be, I want you to be okay, and I want you to be able to tell your story, both, you know. So
Thank
like,
you.
yeah,
If
wait,
can well, a couple things I was gonna say a couple things before you like I know you have some people watching on your end. I don't know how many people you have, but and for the people on my end, I'm sure everyone already knows it, but I have a GoFundMe up that is specifically for exclusively for private investigators and to like look into this in a bunch of different states. And then I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo, which is for my personal costs, like keeping my car running with gas, etc. I don't buy any pot or anything like that. I haven't smoked in months. Um, and yeah, so if people feel inclined to help me with private investigators or personal funds, I appreciate it a lot. If anyone wants to look up any of this on their own, I think there's enough to kind of like bounce off of, and I'll be putting this recording on my YouTube, I believe, tomorrow. And then let's see.
get your Cash App and all
There's
your
also
information in your bio, or where do
yeah.
you
If you
find
go to
that?
my if you go to my profile and then like you go to my greater global goals or my other account traffic TikTok, and you swipe whatever swipe over, you see all my videos. On the very top there's a link called Linktree, and you
Yeah,
click on that, and then it'll say something like, do you want to go out of this website to another website, and you hit open anyways, and it'll give you a link tree, and that link tree has all my social media, my email, my phone number, my Cash App, Venmo, etc. as a Word document, which explains almost everything that I've already explained here, but a little bit some more stuff. And it has some recordings where the volumes I'm told don't work, so I'm getting those fixed. There's so much. There's so much on my link tree, including yeah, my social media, ways to get in contact with me, and ways to help fund my thing. There's also videos that I've posted recently. Um, about like different people corroborating my story from when I was younger, etc. Um, and like yeah, so I have all that going on, and then tomorrow there should be yeah, I'm going to be updating more stuff tomorrow, and then hopefully soon I have a interview with a uh, a radio show in the town that I'm in. They said that they'd be interested, and they'll get a hold of me if they find someone to speak with me. So I want to mention that all that, and I don't think there's anything else I'm missing. Um, gosh, Boom, 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 boom.
Thank you,
So yeah, I think that's
thank
it. And
you.
then yeah, thank
Sorry.
you, thank you. Sorry, you're gonna say?
No, I
Oh,
just I think that you did a good job like covering your social medias and stuff and how to contact you for sure. Um,
thank
but yeah, we will
thank you.
call me call me later or whatever you want to do, duo, call, text, whatever. But we'll get in contact later. I want to be able to like check in with you again and we're gonna work on this and help you get a little more organized.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I want to say someone just posted on my end. They said my Cash App is Kevin J Mosley. I thought it was Kevin James Mosley. It could be Kevin J Mosley. If if you're on searching, go to my leak tree. But I want to mention that for anyone. But yeah, so I'll talk with you probably later tonight. Sorry for bouncing around in my head. This is why I have to cancel or like stop for right now because I'm just like getting really bouncy.
Yeah,
But
that's
so I'm gonna
why
go.
I talked to you. I wanted to
Thank
talk
you.
to you to give you
Thank
a
you.
chance to do this. Don't apologize, please. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well,
Take
awesome.
care.
Awesome. Thank you again. I hope you have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna stay on for like 2 more minutes with you guys, with y'all. In case, do you guys have any questions on anything before I hang up on y'all and go about my day here? Yeah, same pick as in YouTube. Thank you for your kindness. Lost sound? You lost sound? Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna stay on for like another. Yeah, if you can hear me, if you can't hear me, let me know. But I'm gonna stay on for just another like minute or two, and then I have to go like use the restroom and buy a popsicle, kind of thing. You can hear me. Sounds good now. It's back. Okay, awesome. So before I go, does anyone have any questions on anything? Anything particular or whatnot? So I'm just gonna stay on. I know it's awkward asking, or not say awkward. I know there's probably nothing to ask at this point since so much got answered, or not much to ask. But I guess if other people want to support the what's it called? Gosh, I was trying to think of a way to like kindly put pressure on that radio place here, that local radio station that said they might talk with me. Like I don't want to put negative pressure. Just like, I don't know, show them that people are interested in hearing this and that they would get reviews, you know. But I don't know if that's silly. What is a story of the fave tattoos? What is the fave? Yeah, Queen BEESH. It says, what is the story of the fave tattoos? If you're asking about my face, the face tattoos, go to my Word document on my link tree and scroll all the way down to the very bottom of the Word document, and that explains my face tattoo. Thank you, C Dizzle. I know, I was like, is it Kevin J or is it Kevin James? I was like, I think it's Kevin James. You're fine, I appreciate it. Thank you, Angel It, and Vero. Sorry if I pronounced that horribly wrong. Thank you for your kind words. I tried to articulate myself well enough. Whew. Yeah, the face tattoos I've answered. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I just answered that a lot of times, and I don't want to go into like another big, because like I can just paraphrase it, and I just don't want to paraphrase anything right now. And I don't want to explain anything long-winded right now, but it's explained in my Word document. It's like the last 2 paragraphs. Your mood seems good today. Happy for you. Thank you. I had the worst night last night, like just really bad nightmares. It was the worst night that I've had in a long time. Like, it wasn't just like, because I usually just don't sleep well, but I haven't dreamt, which I have horrible, every time I dream it sucks. I had very vivid dreams, and it was horrible. So yeah, are you ready for radio? Not yet, Kevin. You need to hone your story. Yeah, I do need to hone in my story a little bit more. But right now, it's whatever. It's get what I can get. And then also, they're in a radio station. It's a bit more composed and organized, and so I can be a bit more composed and organized. I don't have to worry about the heat. I don't have to kind of worry in the back of my head about like someone coming up to my car and being like, "Get a job" or something. And so there's a lot that I won't have to be concerned about with being on being in a fixated radio-ish place. It's kind of like when I did the interview that I'm also going to put up tomorrow in the library. That was kind of more organized. I had like a table and whatnot, and that went fairly well. Yeah, and someone said they heard a dog in a car. There's totally a dog in a car. I don't see, there's a lot of cars. I don't see which car it's in. Oh, I see which car it's in. It's in a big SUV thing. It's a big dog. Sounds like a little dog. Maybe there's two dogs in there. Or maybe I'm just looking at the wrong car with also someone else having another dog in a car. One of the two. Sorry. Let's see. Hugs. Thank you, Jenny Boom. You can make a list of your topics so you don't get lost. I'm really bad at like writing. Like, I can focus really well on some stuff, but then some stuff like that's a good idea and I should do that. But like in my brain, like I used to, like 4 or 5 years ago, I could organize like literally months in advance, like almost like every detail of like what I would do per day. And now I'm just like, like what I do in the day, whatever I get done is an accomplishment at this point. And so like in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And I want to do that. I don't know if I will be able to do that, but yeah, he does, but it's much different in another platform. Yeah, totally. They will know how and where to interrupt you and ask more questions to keep you on track. Yeah, totally. Stardust. Yeah, more condensed. Sounds like a small dog. Yeah, I think it's a small one. I mean, I see a big dog in a car. Like I see his his big tail. But then I do hear a smaller dog. And so it's either two dogs in one car, or I'm looking at one big dog in one car, and then I hear another little dog. I guess, okay, so I'm gonna walk over to Walmart, and I'm gonna put my windows and everything up. And then I guess on the way there, we can find out together. But when I walk in Walmart, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna say bye to y'all. So roll up that window, roll up that window, crack that one, and sunroof. Open sunroof. Okay, keys. Let me put this here for 1 second. Face mask. Hat, wallet, keys. Oh, mango strip. Oh, no, I don't hear the dog anymore. Contact the news and reporters. Oh, I've been contacting them for years. And someone, on my way down here, a bunch of us were contacting Fox News and like liberal and conservative news, but specifically in Utah, we contacted I think 1 or 2 different places. So I'm definitely trying. It definitely puts more pressure on the news agencies to look into things when other people are also pressuring them. can't see. Contact news. Doing anything every day is amazing. You don't ever quit. Radio is a very time sensitive. All this will take time. You have to stay on topic and leave out emotions. See, I agree with that to a large extent, or to an extent. I used to leave the car on and use the key fob when my dog is the weather. Oh, when the weather was hot, yeah. Yeah, it looks like the parents came, so I don't hear the doggy anymore. I see the big doggy. He's in that white. See, not that car, not the truck. There it is, that thing right there, that SUV thing. And the big old dog is in there, sitting in the front seat. Going inside. So tomorrow, if y'all want to listen to this whole recording, it's going to be up by the end of the day tomorrow, but probably like by midday tomorrow or something like that. And then I'll try to put up a few other recordings. Just off topic, but my cat always pick on my phones to see who is talking. It's funny. Until you get it honed before others. I had the same issues. Okay. That's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I appreciate everyone's being here for this today. I'm gonna try and post maybe one video today. But yeah, just see where things go. And then tomorrow y'all will probably hear from me and the person that was just doing this interview today again tomorrow. Sorry, my words are all jumbly. But y'all take care. Peace out.